the ground. Stick in my heart like it really is, 'cause I can't take another no. I see, I like, I go, I get, no one can holding me back. I see, I like, I go, I get, go, I get, go, I get, go, I get now.
Welcome back, y'all. Today we're going to be painting something very, very, very special. So special that I said very 3 times. I don't usually do that. It's a special occasion. You're in for a treat today. It's the canvas. Canvas is your best friend. Your best friend. Would you slap your friend in the face? Maybe if he stole your wife from you, like Paul did. But we're not drawing Paul.
If I was watching this video, I would like it. I would like the video, and I would probably subscribe, because this is so thoroughly entertaining and also well executed. It's not a request.
Good morning, everybody. I can't help but chuckle with the new addition to my intro there. I found that guy the other day, and I'm like, I've got to input that in there. Yeah, hopefully we have no Pauls in the chat, because you shouldn't be stealing other people's wives. But anyway, welcome to the Joys of Painting with me. I am DreamingTabitha. If it's your first time here, welcome, welcome. Thank you for being a part of the stream. Hope everybody has been having a fantastic morning wherever you might be. And I've got a special guest on today, and looking forward to painting. We're going to have a good time. We absolutely are. And of course, please be sure to like this video if you enjoy it, and subscribe if you're new here. I do all kinds of artwork. You can see I've got all kinds of stuff in the background. I do a lot of drawing. I do a lot of painting, working on doing some sculpting in the near future. I hope to one day take my Cara Dune chibi and turn it into a 3D model. I'm going to attempt to do some sculpting this year. We'll see how that goes. And if it turns out good, we will put it on YouTube for the world to see. And if it doesn't turn out good, we will not talk about it. So anyway, good morning to everybody. I'll just say hello. How are you? And of course, if you do so feel inclined to feed the artists and support the channel so I can do more of these streams and get better equipment and get new brushes, because certain guests sometimes destroy the brushes that I have when they're in studio with me. Feel free. There are links down below for you to find different ways. And of course, you can also shop on Etsy and get your own caricatures essentially of some Star Wars people, because I do love me. You might notice I do love me some Star Wars. But good morning to Mrs. R2 the Icky and Go To Bag. Thank you. Have a fun day today. We plan to do so. Johnny 64 is here. Of course he is. Of course, I see you. And Dawn, good to see you. And Zacharat and A2D2, good morning. And Benjamin Joyner, Miss Martin Muses, and Noob Reviews, good to have you. She said she's got a lot of exclamation points today. Hello, DreamingTabitha. And of course, my guest, a Treble Green, just dropping by quickly, can't stay, but hope you have so much fun. Looking forward to watching later. That is awesome. We've got Lulu in the chat and Drunk 3PO. Speaking of people that were destroying my brushes, and also the Maker, which also is my brother, and glad that you're here. Hope you all are having fun. So we're just going to go ahead and get started here. I'm going to introduce my guest. You may be familiar with her. She has a YouTube channel. She's very popular on Twitter. I would like to call her the Lore Avenger. If she ever needs a new Twitter handle because maybe Twitter hates her and decides to put her in Twitter jail, I think the Lore Avenger would be the perfect one for a Tripled Green. Good morning.
I love that. That's awesome.
Lore Avenger, because if you don't know, big advocate over here, big, what I guess, like a history buff essentially for the Lord of the Rings, Tolkien's. It's pretty sad that we kind of have to say that now, like Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, because even though it's always been his, now we've got to be like specific about it.
Yes. Yes. We have to make sure we know which one we're talking about.
Well, so before we get started with painting and everything, if you would like to share, like, who are you? What do you do? Why are you here today?
Yeah. So So for anyone who may not know, I am a troubled green on all of my social media. I am the bookworm, I feel like, of this community. I like, Tugs will be like, have you seen this movie? And I'm like, I've never even heard of that. So I drive everyone insane because I'm not a TV expert. I'm not a movie expert. I love books. So I started a Bookstagram account at Troubled Greens Library. But yeah, I try to, I've started my YouTube channel, and while I do commentary, on the pop culture issues, the culture war and all that, I am very dedicated to like finding and talking about things that we love. And so, Lord of the Rings streams, like appreciation streams for Tolkien and stuff, like that's been a huge sale. And I've got stuff down the pipeline that I want to talk about. So yeah, like I like being part of the culture war, but I definitely don't want to just sit around and complain. I'm very much someone who encourages people, like, if you've got that book on your heart, if you've got that painting on your heart, if you've got that sculpture on your heart, like go make something beautiful, go create. So that's kind of been my call to the masses these past couple months. So I am so happy to be here. And again, I'm like, I was telling you before, I grew up around art. My mom's a fine artist. My mom's been in galleries my entire life. But I can't draw a stick figure. So I'm just like, we'll see how this goes.
Well, that is always a place to start. I tell people, especially because I teach children on a platform called OutSchool. It's virtual learning. Essentially, It's like this. And it's like just having a place to start.
Yes.
That is always, it doesn't matter what it is. It's amazing how life is it repeats itself, right? Like it's everywhere. It doesn't matter if it's a garden, painting. You got to start somewhere. As long as you're willing to start and work at it, you can. And so we're going to do something a little bit more tedious than a stick figure today, but
I'm excited.
We have stencils.
Yes.
Yay for stencils.
Thank God.
Some people think stencils are cheating. I don't care. If I'm a cheater, then I'm a cheater because it just kind of cuts the time. I used to try to be that person. I don't need stencils. I don't need to trace out, or like with my figures and stuff like that. I don't need to start off with a rough sketch. I'll just go for it. And that's okay, but I definitely have learned, Tabitha, just save yourself the time.
The grief, and the grief and all that.
The grief. And Ado is here, Fabworks. He says, hi, Tabitha. Hope you're doing well and have a blessed morning. Thank you so much. Good to see you, Ado. And so before also we get too far ahead of this, I just got to ask, for those that don't know, I think I've heard your story before, but why a troubled green? You don't look like a Martian to me. So.
No, not at all. So for those who don't know, I am formally an Irish historian. That's my training. That's what I went to school for. I have my master's degree in history, in European history and creative writing. And then my master's was European history. I have formally withdrawn from my PhD because wokeness and reasons and all this stuff. And definitely feel like God's calling me down a different path, which I'm very excited and happy about. But the shorter version is, I got interested in Irish history when I created my Instagram handle back in 2013, and I wanted something unique. I didn't just want my name. And I was an Irish dancer for 5 years. Yes, I was. I was a competitive Irish dancer for 5 years, and I placed 43rd in the entire Southwestern region. So it was pretty good. So I was really into Irish dancing, everything Irish. Everything's always been Irish with me.
Yeah.
And
I went through a phase like that.
And there was one, Michael Flatley did a America specific, it was about the Irish diaspora show. And there in those shows like Riverdance or The Dance and all these other big shows, there's always they always have Irish rebel songs. And there was one I'd never heard called Four Green Fields. And it was about Kathleen the Houlihan, which is the old woman of Ireland, calling up her young men to fight for her four green fields, which is the four provinces of Ireland. And Ulster, at the end of the song, she's like, the last green field is still in enemy hands, which is Ulster, which is Northern Ireland. And so I was getting into the troubles of Northern Ireland. That's my focus. That's my study, is the civil rights movement from 1950 to the early 90s. The troubles in the civil rights movement are my specialty. That's what I've always been drawn to. And so a troubled green just popped into my head one day. So it was like, it would be more formal to say a troubled green field, but I was like, that's too spot on, and that actually sounds weirder. So A Troubled Green is about the troubles of Northern Ireland, and that song For Green Fields. So it's a really roundabout way of saying that, but yeah, that's where that came from.
Well, I like it because it creates this kind of story,
Mhm.
A Troubled Green. It's creative, it's catchy. What
Mhm.
does it mean? Like
Mhm.
that's great. Actually, that'd be like a nice book title, I think, for like an Irish history book.
Yeah.
Because it says a little without saying everything.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. Well, yeah, I know you were an intelligent lady. Obviously you can tell, how many books a person has says a lot. I wish I could display all the books back here because that was like, I felt like that was a sign of my intelligence. Like, let me
Yes.
just, guys, they'll flex their muscles and be
Yes.
all about the gains. And I'm like, oh, really? Would you like to see my book collection?
It's so funny. Like when Johnny was here in Albuquerque, when he came to see me, I was like, are you ready to see all my bookshelves? And he's like, yeah, I don't care. So yeah, he was not thrown off by I'm up to now 9 bookshelves that I have. And most of them are in this room. I just have the one behind me. But yeah, no, I was like, books
Just
are my
something
thing.
about it. Exactly. And old books, man,
And they smell so good.
Yes, exactly. You feel it. Like, I just can't do Kindles and stuff like that. I think they're practical. It's perfect for travel. Oh, yes. No, I can't. I've got to have a tangible copy, and not to get political or, conspiracy theories or anything like that. But I feel like more than ever nowadays, we need tangible books.
Yes.
And I'm just going to leave it like that. So anyway, guys, we are going to be painting. Speaking of books, we are going to be painting a character from a book series that is, I think, kind of underappreciated. Like, people know about it, but they don't know. I think it's like Firefly. I don't know if you know what Firefly is. It's TV show. It's like everybody loves it, but nobody really knows about it or something like that. So we are going to be doing Martin the Warrior from the book series Redwall. If you've never read those books, technically speaking, I've never actually read those books. I've only ever listened to the books.
I've listened to them too.
We used to do a lot of traveling as a family, like cross country, visiting family, whatever. And we would just listen to the book. So like Tagarung and Loamhedge and Redwall, those 3 are my favorite. Eulalia I enjoyed that one as well. I did enjoy Mossflower, but I have to say, like Tagarung, Loamhedge, and when we used to have Yorkies, of course, when you have pets, you give them all kinds of weird names because that's just how it is. You never call them by their real name.
Yeah, no.
And so one of our dogs, his name was Halo, but we ended up calling him Little Bud or Bud out of from Loamhedge,
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Loamhedge made me cry so hard. Loamhedge to me was one of the saddest ones.
That was good. Oh, Nude Reviews says that she loves Redwall, and Drunk 3PO says Kindle for the win. Yeah, you do a lot more traveling than I do. So I see the practical purpose for it. You can store hundreds of books on it. I need the features.
Yeah. And see, I love audiobooks. Like I've got 400 books on my Audible, but I want my physical book.
Yeah, exactly. Audiobooks every day, all night, whatever. It's good. Travel, yes, gotta have it, but need to have
the physical book. Yeah. And I've been so lucky. I found a couple vintage copies of Brian Jacques at my local thrift store. So they're like the original publishing, and that the covers are so beautiful. So I'll have to show them off one day.
Now, what's interesting, you said Brian Jacques, and do you know that he pronounces it Jakes?
Does he?
Does. In that he totally Americanized it, right? We used to call it Brian Jacques or Jacques or something like this. No, Brian Jakes. Because when he narrates the books, he says that by Brian Jakes.
I've literally never absorbed that.
Totally. Look at me teaching you something. Who's the historian now? No, we're going to be doing Martin the Warrior, and we're going to be starting with our background. Hopefully we've gotten all of our colors mixed. If not, that's okay. I've just made a huge mess, but that's just how it is. With our primary colors in black and white, I've created my different stages of green, which will probably be altered as we go along the way, just to enhance whatever we're painting. And then I've created a mixture of clayish brown red kind of thing that we're doing over here for our mouse and a little bit of the bottom portion here. And so we're not going to focus on the mouse just yet. And I'm reading what JT said. Drunk 3PO says, please smash the like button and sun if you're new. And JT said, sun if you're new, like suntan. Hey, I miss buttons on a cell phone. I'm just going to be real. Touchscreen typing, I hate it. But anyway, I'm going to put this, I'm not bitter. I'm going to put this over here. So yeah, we're not going to focus on the mouse right now. You were saying that there were some things about, hey, the chairman, there are some things about blending and painting that you have a difficult time with. So I thought doing kind of just a whimsical background that kind of helps tell the story without being too detailed is what we'll go for. The main purpose of, or the main portion of the background is actually the ground. This just lets us know where our character is going to stand. Right. It makes him look like my art teacher told me we never want things floating in the ether unless they're supposed to be floating in the ether. So that's going to be the most important part. So everything else is meant to just have fun. And hey, Dr. Rachel, I see you there. And we're going to start from the top and just kind of work our way down. And just kind of, it's going to help us relax, feel a little bit more confident, do some stretching, if you will. I always tell the kids, it's important to kind of stretch the muscles before you start engaging in the more detailed stuff. People don't think about that when they think about artists, but it's a real thing. Anyway, I'm going to move Martin to the side here for a second. One more time, we're just looking at the background, starting off with a dark green, going into our lighter green, flowing into some white, some yellow, we're just going to have fun. And then eventually ending off with the brown and going into darker brown. Monkey Jeebus. Nice to see you here. I think you're new. Welcome. And, I've got to turn something off over here. It has been freakishly cold in my room. The air conditioner needs to get regulated because I am like freezing. So I have a mini heater on.
Oh, nice.
It's been on a little bit too long. So now we're going to grab our first brush, our 1-inch flat brush here. My favorite brush ever. And let me rearrange this here so we can see on the big screen what I'm doing. Okay. Let me get one more sip of water. I've been struggling with some allergies lately.
Oh, yeah, girl, I hear you.
I didn't used to. This is what happens when you turn 30. Anyway.
Body's like, I hate you.
Exactly. So, okay, I'm going to go over here. Where'd Martin go? I need to at least look at him from time to time. Matthias, I always preferred Matthias over Martin. Martin's great and everything, but I just kind of like Matthias better. But anyway, I'm going to go dip into my dark green here. Just get some on the brush. Excuse me.
My black is like overflowing into my my green, unfortunately. Because I love that you like have that tray, and I'm just like, I found a used Tupperware lid. It'll be fine.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay, so this is like, I just want to let my subscribers and the people that donated to my stream like last time, thank you so much, because with your support, I bought like a new palette.
Nice.
Because my other ones were getting pretty old, and I'm trying to take care of them, but stuff after a while gets old. So thank you everybody for your support, and if you want to continue doing that, there's other ways to do it down in the description box. But today I'm actually showing everybody for the first time. Thank you. This is for you, everyone.
Nice.
So just starting at the top, because I'm not really going to fill in everything.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start over here. I am left-handed, so feel free to change this to the other direction if you need to. I forget about you normal people, in your right-handed ways. So anyway, I'm painting this like a left-handed person because I can. And I'm just going to start at the corner and just do some little flick motions like so. Nothing fancy. Can't do this the wrong way. A little Spidey sighting. Where is he? There is little Spidey. Good to see you. Good morning. I'm with DreamingTabitha and Trouble Green. I love physical books. Exactly.
Yes.
That's right. R2 and Mrs. R2, you're doing something right over there.
They are doing something right. I agree.
Here we go. So yeah, just do a couple of these little flicks down here. You can make some thin, some thick. And you can see here, I just kind of use up what's in the brush. So that way I have a nice fade effect here, going from dark into light. And this, of course, will look different from my original painting, just because there's no exactness to what we're doing right here. I did scale down my canvas so that it will fit here, because this is the original one is going to leave a lot more room for sky. Whereas I'm not going to have quite as much, so I'm going to use a little less of the green, of the darker green here. I'm going to add a little bit more blue to my green.
Yeah, and I went to the dollar store because my mom's got a lot of really beautiful canvases, but I didn't want to because I'm not a painter, take hers. So I went to the dollar store.
Yeah.
They have that wonderful $5 section, but unfortunately, they were out of 8x8 what was it, 8x10? 11x14. So I was like, crap.
Oh yeah, no, that's perfect. I think 11x14s are probably one of my favorite sizes to paint on.
Mm-hmm.
But I just, like I said, for this today, I think I am painting. It's a kind of an awkward size. It's not quite an 11x14. It's not an 8x10. It's somewhere in between. So
right.
And so, like I said, so I'm just going to go ahead and jump ahead to a little bit. I don't know where you are exactly, just kind of finessing this, but I'm not going to rinse my brush. I'm just going to go in to some of the lighter green here. I'm going to lighten it up with a little bit of yellow and just kind of go in here. I'm going to add just a wee bit of white too. It's funny. I tend to say a wee bit quite a lot. And I had some friends that were missionaries to Ireland for years and years and years. And every time I said that, they would just kind of chuckle. And I'm like, what's wrong? And they're like, no, it's just, I haven't heard somebody in the States ever really say that. I'm like, right. Here we go. So I'm just going to kind of do some flick motions. Bob Ross says, if you need to make the little sounds to make it better, go ahead and do that. Sometimes I do when I get really into stuff. And so color choice plays a huge part in storytelling. And with this, I'm if we look back at the original one, it's kind of got a little bit of like a storm kind of effect. It's different because it's green. So I think that helps with the forest feel. But with our direction that we've got going on, it kind of looks like there's some wind. It's a little bit tumultuous here. And that's a big part of, how much of the light colors we use, what direction we're pulling from.
Sure. Well, what I liked about your mock-up there is that it Mossflower Wood would get those big storms that they have to hunker down in Redwall. So that's what I liked about it, because it looked like it legitimately reminded me of Mossflower Wood.
See, there we go.
I feel like I'm gonna have to go start so my favorite Redwall series book was actually Rackety Tam, about the squirrels. The Scottish.
Oh, that's a good one too. Yeah, the Scottish.
I'm gonna go listen to that today.
I love the moles. Okay, you can't even understand what they're saying. It's so cute, especially the little ones when you hear them narrated.
I know.
And like, what? What did he say?
Right?
It's just so cute.
They are. The moles were darling.
Did you watch
the PBS?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah.
It's so darling.
It's just so sweet. Like I said, I'm carrying down in here. I want to have a bit of brightness in here. I'm going to put just a little bit more white over here, so it's not totally dark.
Okay.
So there's a little bit of
see my progress.
Oh, of course, absolutely. Everybody else would too.
Is that kind of what we're going for?
Yeah, that's stormy looking, and it's kind of it's got gaps in it and everything like that. So that's good. Actually, and you're working at a good level as well. You're already towards the middle, it looks like. Okay. And so, hey, theme park casual. And so I'm going to start incorporating more of the yellow, but it's still mixing with my green, so it's not this drastic change.
Sure.
And so over here, I'm just going to kind of. And hopefully you're enjoying the process of just smearing color on here. There is a technique, there is a style to it, of course. As we get better at these things, we can kind of feel what's right and wrong about even smearing color on a canvas.
Yeah. Well, it's it's interesting that you just kind of mix the colors on the canvas itself. I'm not, that's something I'm not terribly accustomed to doing, just the way that my mom's art works. So I like that you kind of, you pick and choose and put on the canvas as you're working. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I kind of need to see it. I'm very much a visual person, and a kinesthetic learner as well. So, I kind of just have to put it on there and see what I can do with it. Just because it's it might look this way somewhere, but what am I? And it's also you're a total artist here. What am I feeling?
Yeah.
Do I feel like it's too heavy on one side? In fact, I'm very happy with the placement of my yellow right now. I'm a little happy about that, right? Because that doesn't always happen. So, you just kind of. I like mixing colors. That is my favorite thing about painting, is blending, the mixing. I like to see, of course, I like to have a plan. I don't just necessarily do things willy-nilly, although it might seem like it. But I like the magic of what is going to happen if I put this here. It's very subconscious. It's not something I'm necessarily aware of when I put down a color. It's kind of, it's hard to explain, but you just feel it. It's like, oh, that feels right.
Right.
It just works. Like right now, I just accidentally put a giant blotch of green down here, but I'm like, oh, kind of toned down my yellow a little bit. I feel it.
Well, I have to ask you. So my mom loves going to like Home Depot or Lowe's. Have you ever like looked at the Oops paints?
No.
My mom has always, and this has stuck with me. She said this like kind of offhandedly to someone one time, but it's so true. I think like just can be applied to life, that people will mix up a color and not be happy with it. And she has always said people make the most beautiful mistakes. Because we have gotten some of the most gorgeous colors for her sculptures from Oops paints at Lowe's, of all places. Like, and they come in like little quarter cups sometimes, and they're Valspar, they're Behr paint, and they're like 50 cents. But they are I know.
How do we not know about this?
So start like haunting Home Depot and Lowe's, because people do make gorgeous mistakes, and there's some of those beautiful colors that my mom has ever found.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look for that. I do have to say I'm not prone to going out and about. I'm definitely an Amazon kind of person,
Yeah.
But yeah, there's some beauty in that. I have never heard of that before.
Yeah, Oops paints. There so many good finds.
Oops paints. And it's such a cute name too, because it's totally not planned, but somehow it turned out beautiful.
Exactly, right?
So I've got just my splash of yellow because, if you will, this kind of represents goodness, the light at the end of the tunnel kind of thing. People don't realize what a role colors play in artwork, especially like in movie posters and video games and things like that. And so again, leaving all this stuff on my brush because I just kind of want it to come out periodically when it feels like it, so everything's cohesive. I am going to dip a little bit into my brownish cream yicky color that I've created that represents the earth very nicely.
Okay, see,
and
I did not have mixed up, so I have to do that.
Oh, no problem. So I took quite a bit of red and some yellow, a little bit of white, and a touch of blue.
Okay.
So basically all the colors, but more yellow and red.
Okay.
So let me hold this over here so you can kind of look at it. You can see I have my darker version over here, lighter version. Just kind of play and see what happens. No wrong way here. Because even if your ground turns out to be a little bit more greenish or whatever, that's the fascinating part and the best part about painting nature is that it comes in all different shapes, sizes, and colors.
Exactly.
So really no wrong way to do it. You just change. I always tell the kids, you always just change the story of what you're doing. It's like, okay, so the ground isn't really, like I said, like really brown. Maybe it's kind of greenish. Well, it just means there's patches of grass on there, or you're, depending, when I teach them like ocean paintings and stuff like that. And then there's the coastline, and looks kind of different for mine, looks up higher. I'm like, well, just imagine if you're taking a photograph and you're standing up higher, you're sitting down, your perspective changes. Doesn't mean the painting's bad. Just means that you're looking at it from a different position than I am, basically. All of that goes into it. I do like to try to put a little bit of a story there when I go through all of this.
Mine got really muddy.
Yeah, well, that happens. It probably means, is there a lot of green in there?
Actually, there's way too much red.
Red is such a prominent thing.
It is.
It's okay.
Don't worry. Improvisation is key when painting.
That's right.
I probably didn't have enough yellow, to be honest with you. I may have to give a shot.
I did that as well. I put too much red in here, and so I just had to counterbalance it with like just this giant glop of yellow and then just a touch of white. Touch of white, as Bob would say. White. Really enunciate the H in white.
Yeah. All right, let's see. White may help. We'll see.
Oh, yeah. Johnny says, remember, Alasia, happy accidents.
Happy accidents for the most uptight person you're ever going to meet.
Well, you know, I think
now it's
we all
magenta.
have. You know, now it's magenta. I love it. Magenta. So still too much red.
It
And then
is,
there's probably a little too much white. Have you put any blue in it?
Yeah, let me put a little more
Yeah, you
blue.
have, so because it kind of has a purple tone to it. So it's too much.
Yeah.
Too much
Way,
blue.
way too much red.
Bruce Lombardo of Dick's Divisions, hello, says, did someone say happy accidents? Oh, we're probably going to be saying that a lot today.
There we
let you
go.
know.
That's maybe. I may actually have to steal a little bit from my Martin color. That might help a tiny bit.
Yeah, do what you got to do.
We'll see. We'll see. All right, let me see if I can start, like, if I gently start kind of. So how are you going to start? Like, are you going to go bottom up now to get it like darker to lighter?
Nope, I'm actually going to start right over here
Okay.
again with my lighter color and just kind
Okay.
of let the yellow. You can always get a little bit of that on there with just a little tiny touch of the yellow on the brush as well. So it just kind of, and just gently kind of stroke back and forth like so. Again, doesn't need to be perfect. It's just kind of like almost like the dust is being picked up from the
Right.
torrent of, not the torrent of wind, but like, you know what I'm saying. And I just kind of, I curve and then I straighten out a little bit, just a little
Okay.
bit as I go across. Making our swoosh swoosh noises.
All right.
And just remember, like I always tell everybody, this is not the main portion of our painting. It's going to be the mouse. So all of our attention really wants to be on him whenever the time comes. Our background is important because it helps tell the story, but you know, it's going to be overshadowed by the superior piece. So it's okay if things are a little janky. And it's just, yeah, I kind of start adding more of the same color towards the bottom because it's diluting the yellow. And it's also going on a little bit thicker, so it gives this illusion of being darker. And just try to get it a little bit darker as I go towards the bottom. And then I go back and forth more, so it looks like a little mound that he's standing on. And sometimes that yellow, some green kind of peeks through. And that's okay, because then everything just kind of matches. So we can, if I hold up Martin over here next to what I've got going on, it's a little bit darker. I'll probably darken that up a little bit. I'm probably going to take a little bit of my green and go towards the edges down here. Oh, my camera's kind of not showing that. Towards here and over there.
Okay.
Just because it's going to mix, let's see, with all the brown and everything. Help make more of like a camo kind of green.
Yeah, this is where my brain is like shutting down. It's like, I don't know how to fix this.
I understand. I do. Absolutely. But trust the process. It's all going to come together. It's supposed to kind of look yucky at the bottom. Because if you can see my color, really, it's not pretty. This is very, very muddy. But it's supposed to. You know, supposed to. Hey, Subhuman84. Hope you were having a lovely, well, now it's noon. Hope you did have a lovely morning. I don't know where you're at. Maybe where you're at is still morning. It is for Alasia.
It is, yes. Okay, that's a little bit better.
Yeah. Just try not to overthink it. Just kind of enjoy the colors, the stroke pattern. Because that plays a big part in this as well. Like we said already, because we were kind of going up, it creates this idea of movement. Wind is blowing. And then we kind of straighten out on the bottom to represent land. He is in Illinois, heading to Wisconsin. Well, safe travels, sir. Dr. Rachel, like I always say and tell everybody, trust the process with a smiley face. Because it does. It has a habit, much like life, has a habit of coming together in the end. It's just
Right.
that we get frustrated in the middle. So,
Right.
oh my
And
gosh.
uptight people have a hard time relaxing.
Yes, this is true. This is true. The painting has definitely helped me in a lot of ways for that. Like a lot of life lessons and
Mhm.
things about myself that I learn. It's like, okay, just let it go. And does like it has a habit of working out. I have tried to implement that in my day-to-day life. It's like, okay,
Mhm.
you know, so I get involved at functions at church and things like that. And you know, there's a plan and I've got a schedule and it doesn't
Right.
always go according to plan. It's like it'll work out in the end, and it always does. Maybe it doesn't go according to my plan, but it doesn't make it bad or wrong. It's different than what the plan was, and just kind of learn to be a little flexible about it, a little
Mhm.
patient. And try to see the bigger picture too. When I used to work at a studio, everybody, like the adults especially, they would look at their stuff and be like, man, this sucks. I hate what I've done. Because they're staying so close to the problem that they
Mhm.
can't see the entire situation, if you will. And so I'd
Mhm.
always tell them, like, about an hour after, I'm like, take about 10 steps or 10 feet
Yep.
back, look at it in its entirety. And I literally would see their demeanor just change in an instant. And they're like, oh, that's not so bad. It's like, yeah, because again, there's a message in there because you're not looking at the individual flaws. You're looking at the
Mhm.
entire thing and realize, man, the entire thing outweighs the flaws.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's how we need to look at people, I think.
Yeah. That's how I be
Little-
like when I'm making a sweater, you know, even to this day, I've been knitting for 20 years. Like I'll drop a stitch or I'll get the pattern off or whatever it is, you know, I'll do one of the cables wrong. And it's hard. I will focus in on that one thing. Cause I mean, this is months of work that I've put into this. And now I have to step back and be like, yeah, but I made a whole sweater.
Right,
You know?
exactly. You kind of have to remind yourself, okay, like this is not the end. It's not the end of the world, and yeah, and you remind yourself, not everybody can knit a sweater.
Exactly. It's kind of a lost art. So yes, exactly.
For sure. So when I'm done with my background like this, I am going to put this in my water because I
Okay.
will not need this anymore. We are moving on. We are progressing, and we're going to want our background to get nice and dry before we do the stencil because, of course, if we put paper onto a wet surface, it's just going to kind of disintegrate and stick to it. We don't want that.
No.
Johnny64 says, I love how trust the process became a thing. Most people saying it now don't know where it came from.
Ooh, is that a basketball thing?
Is it? I don't know. I think I'm pretty sure, Leonardo da Vinci said it. I have no idea. I'm sure all artists at one point have had to tell themselves, trust the process.
Yes, for sure.
Robert Laurie says the same thing with photo retouching. Absolutely. I was a photographer for years, and you kind of had to just take a step back, like zoom out, if you will, of the photo editing process and be like, okay, this is all good. I can't fixate on this freaking daisy that's messed up in the picture somewhere. I've got to like the person smiling, they look happy, the color looks good, just forget about it. Like,
yeah. Well,
Absolutely.
The thing is also it's especially with like knitting, like you'd have to stand there and point out the mistake to someone because someone doesn't realize that there's even a mistake. They don't see it. It's like, you know it because you made it, but you would have to stand there and point at it and tell them what's wrong for them to see it.
Exactly. And again, like I said, I just think that it's so beautiful. I say this all the time, is that life goes full circle.
Mm-hmm.
It all just kind of reconnects and points to it. You can find you can find a message. If you're a religious person, you probably know what that means. Like you can find a proverb, you can find a parable or whatever, a fable, whatever, in everything in life. I always tell people like gardening is just such a great idea because it teaches you so many life lessons about patience, endurance, love. Like you can learn about relationships from gardening. I think that's crazy and crazy awesome.
Yeah.
Same thing with artwork. You have to put a lot of effort into something you really love if you want to make it work. And if you fixate on one problem, it's all just going to fall to pieces. You got to get past certain things. Some things are not worth fretting about. Look, we're just having a girl moment here and just chit-chatting about life while we wait for our campuses to dry. I mean, but it's true. It's true. Mayhem Poser says that looks so good, honey. I'm assuming they're talking to you because I don't know who they are.
I know not who that is either, but thank you.
Well, maybe they were talking to me. I don't know. Well, hello. How are you? Kathy Skywalker says, hello there. Hello there. Love your last name. Johnny64 says, it's been a term for a long time, but it started trending heavily in 2013, and everyone started using it when a well-known general manager kept saying it about his team. He was eventually fired. Well, that sucks. Like, there was such an uplifting story that just came.
I know. That was a roller coaster of a sentence.
Where are the commas? Hey, discount super. Look, I'm sorry. I'm a punctuation nerd. You know, I don't always get it right, but I try my dang hardest because I'm like, run-on sentences should not be a thing. No disrespect, Johnny. I understand. It's the internet. Nobody cares. That's just my personal thing. You know.
Yeah, I know. I've been bad about leaving out my comments, and as an editor, like as a formally trained editor, I hear what you're saying.
I am all about bring back the dash.
Yes. And what about M dashes and N dashes?
Like, I'm all about that. You know, I'm all about that life. I will use those in like my Twitter, you know, my tweets and things like that all the time because I'm like, bring back the dash. It is a thing.
It is a thing.
And not a hyphen, people. There's a difference between a hyphen and a dash.
Yes, there's a massive difference. And
it just infuriates me. I know it's something so minuscule. It's not even worth my time to get frustrated about, but it's just like, ugh, don't you guys read? And then I remind myself, no, they probably don't.
Probably. They probably don't have a copy of the Chicago Manual of Style sitting on their desk like I do.
And I read a lot of old books. Most of the books that I read are like classic literature. Like I'm reading Moby Dick and John Carter of Mars, and I'm reading, you know, Dracula and stuff like that. And I'm just like, look at all the dashes. Just look at and I'm like, why aren't we using that anymore? But anyway, I just can't. I can't with some of these people. Let's see. I'm going to let me bring this back up here. Retouch the surface area.
Oh, I like your cluttering. That's beautiful.
Oh, I understood my cluttering, like just one long word. And I'm like, I thought you said like clutter or something. I'm like looking around. What are you talking? Okay, gotcha. My ring.
No, that's beautiful.
Yeah, I went through an Irish phase, and there's a lot of things about it, and I love the story and the representation of what this is supposed to mean. You know, love, loyalty, friendship, all that. I mean, I think that's important. Johnny says, I literally could have not added one comma. I literally think you could. I used every character for that story. Wait, was there an X in there? You said every character. Did you mean letters? Oh. There's no X in there, sir. There's no Z. Maybe we're not on the same page. Mayhem Poster says gothic and rainy. Well, that doesn't sound too bad, actually. So my background is dry. How's yours going?
So the top is dry. The bottom is a tad bit tacky still.
Okay. Well, okay. We don't want to do that just yet. I'm going to go ahead and bring back Martin here. And so we can see what we're going to be working with. We're going to be darkening up the bottom portion later on. I like how people are just like putting commas in the chat.
Yeah, now my mom is like, here, Johnny, here's your commas.
I got your commas here. Poor guy getting called out for lack of commas.
No, he's gonna like text me afterwards. We need to have a talk.
Okay. On Twitter, it'll be a thing. Like just tag him with a bunch of commas. I'm so doing that. Anyway, so yeah, we're gonna be putting him here. We have a stencil ready. Mine has been already dissected because I told you we would be doing that later on to make it more, make it a little easier. But if I were to put him all together like a nice little puzzle piece. Because I knew doing a character like this would be difficult, especially if somebody doesn't have a lot of experience painting and drawing and whatnot. But I'm like, you know, stencils for the win. Because, I mean, this if you look at the picture all finished, this is very detailed. So it's like, how do we minimize this? How do we make this easier? So this is one reason why I told you bring some scissors, because when you take apart everything, we're not going to do all the grommets and the belt and everything.
Yeah.
We're going to simplify it down to gloves and a cape. So, and he still looks, you know, pretty sinister there with his eyes and everything like that. So, Whitey Wicked Workshop, happy Saturday. So glad that you're here for the children. Am I right, Whitey? For the children. If you guys don't know what that's talking about, I am a member of Inside the Booth, where we do movie reviews, and we had Whitey on our last show, and he is an absolute riot. He is just, he's hilarious. He has his own YouTube channel where he does Star Wars room building and things like that. You should totally check it out. Johnny, I'm not going to read the, like, okay, right here, this is a walk-in comma. Anybody familiar with a walk-in comma, like Christopher Walken?
No.
You've never seen that meme, Malaysia?
I don't think I have, man. I'm gonna have to go look that up now.
Oh my gosh, the Christopher Walken comma. Let me see if I can find that.
Sorry, I'm trying to get this stupid thing to dry. Come on, here we go. All right, we're getting there.
No, absolutely. Take your time. That's what I do too. I'm like, you know, you just, because we all know about like the standard comma. We know about the Oxford comma. Big Oxford comma girl.
Oh, same girl. Same.
Yeah. But then there's not only that, but there is, let's see if I can make this bigger, the walk-in comma. Let's see. Oh, shoot. Oh, I've never. Oh, that's too big. Hang on.
All right. I think I'm almost there. By the time you find the meme, I will be there.
All right. I've never done this before. Do you know? How do I show another screen? Like,
so you hit share there at the bottom. It says share.
Ah, okay.
And then you got to choose which tab you want to share.
Oh, this is uploading. That's not what I want to do.
No, don't upload it anywhere.
Share screen tips. Oh my gosh, I'm totally gonna like mess this up, aren't I? Oh my goodness, I don't know what I'm doing.
You
here we go.
Twitter, do you got it?
There it is. Okay. Let me see if I can. Look at me learning things. Here we go. Do you see?
Okay.
Let me see if I can get this here. It says the standard comma, you know Bob, Sue, and Greg, they came to my house. The Oxford comma, you know Bob, Sue, and Greg, they came to my house. Then you got the walk-in comma, you know Bob, Sue, and Greg, they came to my house.
Oh, okay. I know what you're doing. See, that is what M dashes are for. This is why I love M dashes, because they separate the commas and they make it not so quite hard to understand.
Because if you've ever heard Christopher Walken talk, like that's exactly how he talks. Funny. So that's why they call it the walk-in comma. That's because he pauses so many times in between his words. He's almost as I think that he's almost as bad as Alan Rickman, the late great Alan Rickman. But Alan Rickman spoke in ellipses, I think.
He did.
Yeah, he spoke.
He literally did. He literally spoke in ellipses.
Have you ever seen? Oh, maybe not. Have you ever seen the meme that says was just describing that they wouldn't want to have Alan Rickman as a GPS, or could you imagine having him as a GPS voice and be like, turn right?
Yes, that is so
I love it. So if this is fairly dry, we're gonna figure out where to position Sir Mouse here. And I want to have fairly large room up here for the sky, so I'm going to push him down a little bit further than on my original piece.
Okay.
And here's the thing too, because of the fact that he has this cape floating off, I like to off-center him just a little bit. This is going to be personal preference.
Okay.
So go with your feelings here. Trust your instincts. And I'm not going to do him too far off because I want him in the center of my painting, but I really want to have the extravagant cape just kind of really showing and flowing in there. So let me try to make sure he's straight too. This is going to be really fun to try to outline, given the fact that I have him cut up in little pieces. I should have printed too. Tabitha didn't do that. She will learn her lesson. By the time Alan says which way to turn, it would be too late. Exactly.
Exactly.
And that's the awesome part of
And I
it.
think he would insult you as you're passing, your turn.
Turn right, you imbecile. And I would love that. Like,
I would too, frankly.
why has nobody made something like that? Like just taking snippets of his movies and stuff like that. And I have some of his audiobooks. The man should have read more books, man.
Mhm.
But that would be, I would download that app. So I'm going to go ahead and trace out the entire body.
Okay.
Whenever I get the whole thing situated.
You know what? The one thing I didn't grab is a pencil. So hold on, real quick.
Oh, no problem. That's my bad. I probably should have said something about that earlier to her, but I just kind of went and assumed, and that was my fault. That if she knew we were doing stencils and tracing, she would have grabbed it. But again, that's on me. Don't hold it against her, guys. It's on me. Salty Nerd Highlights is here. Hello, Tabitha and Alasia. Hello, Salty Nerd. And R2. It's R2, the Icky Clips in the house. It says, howdy, Tabitha and Alasia. Hope you're doing well, R2. Absolutely. All right, let me go ahead. Now, I don't know if you necessarily, this little portion here, there is a gap between his tail and his legs. You don't necessarily need to cut that out.
Okay.
You could just kind of eyeball it with the tail later on. It's totally fine and everything. And you can always keep, what I like to do is keep my stencil handy, like right next to me, so I can use it as a reference point if I get lost and confused. And
Well, this is not the pencil's not taking to the paint. Let me get a black colored pencil. Maybe that would help.
Right, and try not to have it too dark if you can, just because of, the paint will, of course, cover it, but just in case we go too far out and we want to, cover it up, it makes it a little easier. Force Ghost Jeremy, hello there. R2 says the painting is looking good. Well, I'm sure that Alasia's looks better than mine.
No way.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I just said that for the kudos. Here we go. Coming around the mountain here. Piece this together.
Well, it will be a very rough outline, but I think
that's perfect.
Some sort of progress.
Absolutely. It is. It's just meant to be a guideline, and anything that's not necessarily correct, we can always adjust and fix with the paint. Absolutely. Here we go. So I'm curious, for the people that are in the chat, does anybody else listen to audiobooks? And if you do, what kind do you listen to? Because I know a lot of people tend to listen to like podcasts or audiobooks that are like self-help things. But does anybody actually like listening to stories for pleasure? Like, does anybody else out there do what we do? I am curious. And like, what would you recommend? I'm always looking for a good book. Right now I'm listening to The Misadventures of Maud March. And it's just, it's a fun story. I do tend to listen to like young adult or children's books because I just want a good story, dang it. I don't need a bunch of love and romance and sexual stuff. I don't need death necessarily, like gruesome, gory stuff. I just want a good story.
There are a couple Redwall spinoffs and they are children's books and I just started them and I'm really liking them. Let me see if I can, while I'm attempting to get this black.
It's all good.
It's a dangerous thing. So they're by S.D. Smith.
I don't know.
And the first book is called The Green Ember, and it's like Brian Jacques. They're about these little hares that have to go on an adventure and defend their kingdom, and they're very sweet.
Oh. But I like this. It's just so creative and it's just so fun thinking about little. So we did For those that may not have heard me talk about it from different times, in our family we do Nerd Christmas every
Yes.
year.
Oh,
Yeah, and so one year we did Redwall, and it was so fun. We had the little we went around searching, and we found the little creatures that
yeah.
had like little hats on. We
Yeah.
even had a little choir under the tree. There was we found
Oh.
was found as it wasn't a possum, some kind of squirrel or other little creature that was holding the songbook, and some of
Yeah.
them had glasses on, and like we just had a
Gosh.
time and just put little woodland themed stuff in the tree. It was just so good. Shield Wall of Dragons. Hello, everyone. Hope you're having a great day. Hello. Bruce Lombardo of Dick's Division says, I listen to Jim Butcher novels on audiobook. I don't know what he writes, but do tell. Oh, he said Harry Dresden books. What? Okay, two different people. I've heard of that name, but I don't know what they do. To Go To Bag says the Chronicles of Narnia. Yeah, I have the complete series on audiobooks as well.
Yeah.
My favorite go-to book ever since I was a child is A.A. Milne's Winnie the Pooh, but it has to be read by the one guy, and I kind of forgot what his name is right now, but I've been listening to him since I was about 6 or 7. I used to have it on audio cassette tape, wore those things out, and thank God found them on audio on Audibles. But
Nice.
between that or the Wheel of Time series, always a go-to for me.
See, I haven't read Wheel of Time yet, so that's on my list for next year.
Oh yeah. Hey Alan, Press Play Streaming Studios. Good to see you this morning. Yeah, the Wheel of Time, fantastic. It's not like Tolkien where it has, all like these elves and things like that. There's very few like mythical kind of creatures, if you will. There's a couple, but not really. So it's a little bit more realistic in that aspect, just a little bit. But it does kind of have a little bit of like a Star Wars, like the Jedi kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
And but what I like about it too, and sometimes it's a little overwhelming, but that's kind of like with Tolkien, is that there is a lot of lore. Like he went to great extent to create history and even different kind of languages for these characters. So like all of a sudden they're going out wandering in the wilderness, and then he'll pause to explain the history of the land for that section and what destroyed the castle or something like that.
That's cool.
And it can be a little overwhelming at times because, when there's funky names and things like that in there that you're not like accustomed to hearing, but it's an amazing series. I've never actually finished it because I think there's like 12 or 15 books.
Yeah, it's big.
And the poor guy died midway through or something like that. And so somebody else, I think, was it Brandon Sanderson?
Yeah, Sanderson. Yeah, he had to finish it.
But did I say it incorrectly? Johnny64 Shield Wall tablet. Did I not say?
No, Shieldwall was asking which whose painting we were looking at.
Oh, okay. I was like, did I say that wrong? Like, I read. Sebastian Cabot. I don't know who that is. Oh, there it is. Whose picture is on the art cam right now? Yeah, that would be mine at the moment. So then I told you, we were going to cut these pieces up. So whenever you get the whole body traced out, you want to cut the head. I'm going to divide this so you can see. I did cut out the sword, but just because of the fact that when you take off the body right here, it's kind of makes it a little bit easier to place this so that we would know later on where the hands are. But, if you think you can grapple with it and take it on, by all means, girl, go get it. Seize the day. I believe in you. I know it sounds like a cat poster, but you got to believe. So, here we go. Since you're a book person, I'm going to assume you don't know what reference movie that's coming from.
No, I actually have no idea.
Okay, it's from the Lego movie. So.
Oh, yeah. I've never seen those.
Yeah. I'm a big book person myself, but not to your extent. I do enjoy movies a lot, as long as they're a good story and things like that. I haven't read as much as I really want to. I usually read more in the summertime so I can just sit outside, bask in the glow of the rays of the sun. And I haven't. I've been so busy with different things that because I almost can like feel it in my brain, like in my soul. Like I am not reading enough.
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
there's something missing in my life right now, and I need to get back to that. So here we go. Let me go ahead and I'm gonna. So what do you do on your YouTube channel predominantly? What goes on in your world there? And
One
do you have
second.
anything coming up in the near future? Yeah, absolutely. Take your time. I know you got to concentrate.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
So you kind of talked in the beginning about what, your YouTube channel and everything like that is. But for those who might be new, like what exactly do you do on your channel? And do you have anything interesting coming up?
Yeah, so I'm kind of grappling about a little bit where I want my channel to go. So this Monday, I'm just going to do a normal chill stream. We're going to talk about, I don't know if you ever read the Aragorn books by Christopher Paolini.
Yes.
Those are being turned into a show by Disney Plus. I'm very much not happy about that. I'm very worried for, all the same reasons I'm worried about the Rings of Power. So we're going to talk about that. We're talking about the Rings of Power, the TV show that shall not be named. And then, I had the one girl stream, and it's, and I know that you talk about your faith a lot, and I'm a deeply faithful person too. What God really laid on my heart when I started my channel was to have, a little bit more serious conversations about what it means to be a woman in today's day and age, and what being a woman of God and what being a woman of conviction looks like today. And so I want to continue having those conversations. People were very receptive to it. People really enjoyed it. So I want to start having those conversations more and more. And I'm definitely like, again, it's, for me, your YouTube videos are just so inspiring and so incredible, because you just the level of detail and the editing, and I'm so amazed every time you put out a video. It's just incredible. But so I'm still trying to learn how to like not say and so like that's my hiccup when it comes to like book reviews, because I want to do more book reviews, because there are so many fantastic books from the 80s when it comes to fantasy that people don't know about. So I definitely want to try and start having like more consistent book reviews coming out. Because again, books are my thing. I don't want to like pretend I'm something I'm not, like, and do movies or TV shows unless I really care about them. So yeah, I'm trying to find a balance between those things, because I am so new to my channel. It's only 9 months old. So like finding where I want to place things is a little bit of a challenge, but it's a challenge I'll happily take on.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the compliment. I think you do a great job. I mean,
thank you.
I think the I think we're all guilty of the ums. Mine is and. I do say but I say and a lot. And so when I go back and watch my stuff and I'm editing my videos, I'm like, dang it, Tabitha, can't you just rely on the semicolon, like while you're speaking, like, and not say, just envision the semicolon and not say and. That's another punctuation mark that I absolutely adore, by the way. But bring back the semicolon. But yeah, I think the is definitely something that gets us every time. But I don't think anybody would really notice. It's probably one of those things, because I mean, you just said like a bunch of sentences, gave us a huge paragraph of information. You said all the way at the end of it, like that was it. So yeah. I don't think anybody noticed. It's unfortunate, when we point out like the things that we do. It's kind of like when you hear Taylor. I'm going to blow some of your minds, maybe if there's people in the chat that are fans, but like it's like hearing Taylor Swift breathe in between her singing. Once you hear it, you can't unhear it. You Belong With Me, like, I think it's a great song. It's beautiful, catchy tune, all this kind of stuff. But all of a sudden, I started noticing how many times she went, and they don't edit that out. And so now I can't, like, every time I hear that song, all I can hear is
yeah, like, that would be very frustrating.
Once you hear it, you cannot unhear it.
Yes. Yep.
I think she's a very talented woman, but it's just like, oh, why couldn't they do something about that? All this technology, all this auto tune, and we can't at least muffle the, you know?
Yeah, the sudden gasps of air.
Yeah. I mean, I know she's working hard, but still.
Yeah.
It's in the we're in the 2000s. Come on, people, get it together.
Right.
You don't hear Cher having that problem, so I'm just saying. And she's like several decades older, so. But anyway.
Right.
Shield Wall of Dragon says, off to work, yard work. Have a great stream. Thank you so much for stopping by. Enjoy your yard work if you can. Hopefully it's a beautiful day to do that. Dr. Rachel says, Alasia, if you decide to do a review of shows, I'd love to know your thoughts about Amazon's League of Their Own series.
Okay, I will look into it. I don't even know what that is.
Yeah. Theme Park Casual says, so glad I'm not alone with hating my own idiosyncrasies. Oh, of course not.
Of course not.
We all hate something about ourselves. I mean, if we didn't, we'd be a little narcissistic, I think. Johnny says, well, there goes my diehard Taylor Swift fandom.
I'm not sorry
she's
about
still
that.
She's still talented. She can still write songs and all that. She just it sounds weird. She breathes a lot. Like
yeah, stop breathing so heavily.
Stop breathing so much. Where are you at in your phase of the
well, I'm still really struggling with getting any kind of pigment from the pencil or colored pencil to stick to the paint. It's just really, I'm on the struggle bus.
This is the easiest part, Alicia.
I know. I was like dreading the paint, and now here I like can't even get the trace.
Stencil.
I'm like, my stencil's like, no, I'm not going to cooperate.
That's funny.
See if I can.
Everything that we could have a struggle with today. Who would have thought outlining would?
I know. And the thing is, like, I don't have like charcoal. Like, I feel, is that it? What are you using? What is that?
Graphite.
Oh, see, I don't have any. I don't think I've got any graphite.
Soft graphite, because I mean I do have like regular pencils with the lead and stuff, but yeah. Well, you could. Well, I don't want you to use paint. You could if you had to.
Okay.
Take a detail brush and just very like if you already have something of a line there, but it's kind of difficult to see, just kind of go over it with the detail brush. With maybe I would suggest like green, so it could kind of blend into the background a little bit rather than doing black. So you could see it, but it's not necessarily prominent. Let me see, get a little bit, just kind of go around the edges, and it doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to fill it in. But you can see there that way, like I said, if there's anything that kind of sticks out, it will kind of blend into the background a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Let's
see. Forget happy accidents. Alasia is having a happy catastrophe.
This is true. This is accurate. I'm like subtly trying not to panic.
No, you are fine. There are ways of getting the job done. Dr. Rachel says, A League of Their Own is a fantastic movie from the 90s about women in baseball. Amazon is redoing it into a series, and I'm not on board with the series. I just recently watched that movie, Dr. Rachel, and it was a pretty good movie. Very interesting. And that was back in the day when I really enjoyed Rosie O'Donnell. I thought she was a fun actor or actress, like with the different movies that I would see. She had just that attitude and that heavy accent, everything like that. Yeah. I thought she was fun to watch, But I didn't know they were doing it into a series. I mean, that sounds kind of like, in theory, it sounds like it would be kind of a neat series to watch. I think it's a kind of in general, it's a good idea. Like, I think that sounds fun. But knowing the way that Amazon and Disney and all these streaming services are going.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like you were talking about the Rings of Power and what they're going to do. With me being a Wheel of Time fan, I already knew that it was going to be, no disrespect, if anybody in the chat enjoys this show, good for you. But I already knew it was going to be trash when I started seeing the diversity hires. Like that was all they were marketing towards was diversity. Yep. And it was like, okay, they're not even going to pay attention to the story because obviously they're not. Because of the cast they've chosen and because everything is plastered on diversity and modernism and all this kind of stuff. It's like, okay, but I don't want to be one of those people that has such a strong opinion that I'm not willing to give it a chance, depending on what it is, depending on what it is. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to watch the first episode so I can have a well-rounded, informed opinion about this. And man, was I right.
Yep.
It just made me, the first episode made me so mad. I'm like, I don't even care. I'm not going to watch the rest of this. There's no point in watching it. And then more people that had actually watched the entire series. I was on somebody's stream and they had watched the entire series and they were going through and they're like, this happened and this happened. And I'm like, that wasn't in the book. What about this person? Where is this character? That's not supposed to happen until later. Why would they do that? And they're like, I have no idea. I'm like, they just totally destroyed the lore of the book. And they made it all about women's empowerment, which was not in the books. And it, So I after the first episode, they totally disgraced the character and the virtue of most of the main characters. And that sad. Really got me upset because I'm like, there ain't no way Nynaeve would have done that. There's no way that Moraine or Rand would have done this, that, and the third. But they put it in there because who knows why? Yeah. Who knows why? Because they're intellectually bankrupt is what Bruce Lombardo says. Yes, this is true. It's just, I don't understand it. Like I was talking about a stream on Thursday night. This is all about money. These businesses, they don't necessarily care about the fans. I get it. They're a business. They want to make money. So they want to make money. So you should care about the fans because we're the people that would invest. I mean, you go to these, we've seen all these comic book conventions and stuff like that. We people are willing to spend money on junk, man. Let's just be real. Yes. Our paraphernalia is in essence, I've got it too. It's junk. It's just collecting on the shelf because we like it. So we are willing to spend our hard-earned money on stuff. Yep. Why would you spurn us? We're the ones investing in you. Without us, you don't have a company. I don't understand. And I still don't understand their marketing ploy at all. Their business.
Yeah. Like why? Because we are the ones with money to spend. Like, and I still think it's fascinating that the Rings of Power have zero merchandise. There's no book. There's no the only thing.
Wait! Didn't you see the white Kit Kat bar?
Oh, the Kit Kat bar. Okay, so that's fair. They've got Kit Kat bars.
That was terrible, wasn't it?
Oh my gosh.
Hey, Dennis, good to see you. Hope you're having a great day. He says, hello, ladies. Holocron Library Fox says to piss us off. Not even kidding. But see, I don't understand that because we are their market. Why would you ostracize the people that would gladly, I mean, we're talking gladly, spend hundreds, even thousands of dollars on, let's just on tchotchkes. Okay? Like, why would you spurn us?
I know. I legit, and I, like not to put one more thing on the plate, but Netflix has the rights to the Redwall.
Oh, I don't know. Can you make incestuous women empowered rodents? Like, is that a thing? I'm just saying, like,
I mean, maybe.
Do you think they'd really stretch it that far to make Redwall take it into the modern era? Like, that would be a whole weird, creepy kind of fetish.
It would, because Cornflower would end up being Martin the Warrior, not Martin. Martin would be some.
Cornflower would have blue hair.
She would. Oh, and a half-shaved head.
Sorry. Yeah. We are their secret idols. Yeah, interesting thought. I agree. Johnny64 says, I agree in most cases about trying stuff out and giving it a chance. But at this point, I don't think Hollywood deserves our benefit. Yeah, I am very selective of what I'm going to try. If I had known half the crap that they were going to put in that show was in there, I wouldn't even watch the first episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, they I try to be careful with what I watch and what I do give a chance to. But if I don't know that it's going to be there and they didn't tell us that it was going to be in there, I can't know until I watch it. But but so how did it come along? Did you get your little character out?
I can vaguely see it. So I think I'll be able to fumble along at least a little bit.
Yeah, and again, you can always you can always clean things up with the paint and stuff. Were you able to get like the sword and the mouse head and everything on there?
Yeah, I can vaguely see it. So I think I've got enough on there that I can at least feel my way through it.
Okay, well, that being said, what I recommend we do to help us out a little bit, because again, everything's going to get covered in paint. And so if you make a mistake or it looks kind of wonky, that's okay. We're going to create some guidelines that we're basically going to kind of erase later on. So coming into the face, just so we have an idea of where the eyes are, we're going to kind of play around because this little area right here, we may have noticed that we cut off his nose. It's being hidden by his hands because he's got it, his face downward. So we have this little section here. Hopefully you can see that. I'm just going to kind of create almost like this wide V shape here.
Okay.
Make it kind of, shaking my camera here. And just kind of see from here how we're going to create the face. We can see it's a really wide forehead, really big forehead over here. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to go up too high. And then coming in a little bit, just kind of make another wide V like so. Yeah, Bruce Lombardo says the stories that are being rebranded with inclusivity and diversity, they are losing the themes and stories that made those narratives fun to take apart. Yeah, sucking the fun right out of it. And then we're going to create the eyes as well. And they're just kind of like little apple seeds, maybe. I'm trying to figure out what the best shape is. Almost like teardrops, but not really. And he looks very sinister right now, but we'll make him look kind of cutesy later on. But hopefully we can kind of see something coming. Again, it might not look perfect, but that where we see the imperfections, we restructure with the paint. So it's not a bad thing if it looks off, because this will then help tell us, okay, this needs to be up higher. This needs to be over a little bit more. Oh, my pencil. And once we get all this stuff sketched out, the rest of it will be pretty simple. And we get to work on your favorite part, some blending.
Right.
Some shadowing, specifically. It won't be that bad, I promise.
Okay. I was going to ask you, so I found years ago, and I will send you the link, there is a YouTube channel that, and I don't know how, but somehow they got almost all of the songs from the Redwall books, the audiobooks, and uploaded them to YouTube.
Oh.
And I just adore them.
That would be great.
Yes, I will, because they're all of them are like 12 seconds long because they cut that Brian Jacques did not, or Jakes apparently now as he says it, that I did not absorb it all when I was listening to the audiobook. He wrote such short songs, but they all have sweet little ditties, So yeah, I will send that to you because I love listening to those little songs.
What's the one that the otters sing that's just so funny? Barnacles, binnacles, and you don't even understand what the rest are saying. Da, da, da.
Yeah, and I love the Gautham, the Shrews of Mirkwood, they always have their rowing songs, so they're like very specific songs. They've got a very specific beat. I just love those little songs.
Or Broggle and Boo Rab.
Yes. Yeah, Splish Splotch. Yeah, all those little sweet songs.
Mr. Boo Rab, sir. So that would be great. Please send that to me.
I will, most definitely. Right, I've kind of sort of got eyes. Again, it's just this pigment is just not sticking to this paint at all.
And then, let's see. We're going to take up to the ears here and create that cutout. Just kind of like a parentheses shape almost. Yeah, I hate that. I should have told you. I just didn't think it would be an issue. I should have told you which kind of, I guess, pencil to have. Or I guess even if I would have told you to bring a pencil, it wouldn't have made much difference because apparently it's not.
Well, the thing is, we have like those really good drawing pencils that are the softer graphite. I don't know. I may have to go grab one. Because this colored pencil's just not working.
Well, if that will make it easier for you, by all means, you can go ahead and do that. I'd hate for you to struggle, like waste your time struggling when you could have the solution nearby.
Okay, let me go run and get that because my mom does have those really good graphite pencils.
Sure,
so I will
absolutely.
be right back.
We'll see you after these messages from our sponsor. Thank you, everybody, again for being here while Alasia's going to go grab some more materials to make it easier for herself. Be sure, if you haven't already, to hit the like button if you enjoy what is going on here, and feel free to subscribe to my channel. I do lately a lot of shorts, YouTube shorts, because people seem to be really into like 15-second art pieces. Let me tell you, it does not take 15 seconds to make those art pieces. It can sometimes take an hour, hour and a half. And to condense that into 15 seconds is kind of infuriating, to be honest. And it feels a little bit disrespectful to art in general, but people just want to know the gist and see it. So what I also do when I upload videos on my art channel, I try to do like 12-minute videos so that you can see a little bit more of extensive work. I'm currently working on this picture over here of my dear friend Brooke, and she is getting married here in a couple of weeks. I'm going to go see her. I did an art piece for her. She has a rare disease called CRPS or RSD. And if you don't know what that is, it's definitely worth looking up and doing some research, because while it's a rare disease, it's still out there. And you only have about a 6-month window when you get diagnosed to try to find some help for it. And so I do have a video. It's called Her Beauty in the Ashes, where I kind of painted her as like a phoenix rising from the ashes. And that has a lot to do with the sensation that CRPS RSD patients suffer from. It's called the fire ice kind of like syndrome. That's not really a syndrome, but I guess it's what you call it. It's a disease of the nervous system. And so I try to do my part and bring an awareness for her and for this disease. And it's worth checking out. And so I'm just trying to take my artwork and be helpful to other people if I can with it. I also do some art travel vlogs. I've just wanted to travel for so long and do more things. And I was realizing, I don't have to necessarily fly to Hawaii or walk the beaches of Iceland in order to see beauty and find things to create artwork about. So, I mean, just the other day, I recently uploaded a video where my neighbor invited me to go to a peach orchard nearby, and there was this beautiful tree across the street. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to record my session right there. Just sat on the side of the road, had some people come and say hello. What am I doing? And just got some peaches, drew a tree, saw some peacocks along the way. And so there's a whole video there and different places that I've traveled to, and hopefully we'll be traveling to here in the future. So be sure to come by, hang out, and see all that stuff. Dr. Rachel says, I love seeing the whole process of art. Yeah, some people do. So I try to mix it up on my channel. The shorts are really easy to do and they are kind of fun, but I do miss doing some more serious artwork. And so last week I was actually going to attempt to try to finish Brooke over here, but that didn't come to pass. And anyway, but Lady Marine, good to see you. Hope you're having a great day. Let me see here. Let me get back to what we were doing. Okay, I've messed this up. If I could take the RSD away from one of my closest friends, I would. Yeah, and it takes a very special person to enter into a relationship with somebody who suffers in such a way, because they can't go through life normally. Brooke's disease is affecting her organs. It affects the way she walks, and she's only 21. And so that's really devastating, because she was just getting started in her life. She'd always wanted to be a nurse. That was her dream job, and was actually in nursing school when she was diagnosed, like when it was set off, basically, and just totally shut down her world, and she had to reassess. But God's doing great things in her life. He is definitely using her life to speak, and that's really what she wants out of all of this anyway. Holocron Library says, serious artwork, serious editing efforts. Yeah, there's a lot of that too. So after the artwork, it doesn't just stop there. Done the editing as well. Is your pencil working, Alasia?
Yeah, I found a 4B graphite, and it's a little softer. So yeah, I'm picking up the pigment a little bit better. So yeah,
that's actually what I'm using too.
Yeah,
4B.
Are you okay?
So excellent, that works. So we get some ears, some eyes going on here.
Yes.
Okay, if you'll notice, just to kind of help us with the highlight, you'll notice here at the top of the cape, we kind of, with the extension of the arm, it's lighter colored. So I'm just going to kind of make a little swooshy kind of line like this, just again to help make it easier for us later on. Lady Marine says Pam has had it for 15 years. She had shoulder surgery that ended up triggering it. Yeah. And this is not to sound political. This is just sharing a story like of what actually happened. It's not a personal agenda against anything. Brooks was triggered by getting the flu vaccination. Crazy as it sounds, it's, hundreds, thousands, millions of people get the flu vaccination every year. And it didn't work for Brooke's body and it set it off. And she couldn't lift her arm for 6 months after that. It took some therapy for her to actually get it to where she could lift her hand over her head. And
that's terrible. Poor thing. Yeah. Your video for her was really moving.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I've got her personal story coming in this next one and all that. So I cried. She cried. I cried. We cried. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Again, you can see with our stencil, there's a highlighted section over here. It's just fabric. It's supposed to lay all kind of wonky. So it's okay if it's not perfect. We will adjust as we go. And it doesn't take much. Give her a gentle hug for me. Yeah, I let Brooke come to me because I told her, I'm like, I don't know what velocity I can approach you. So you hug me. So that's really hard for her because with the syndrome being so sensitive, extremely sensitive to touch and everything like that. She's a hugger. So and she loves little kids. So that made it really difficult for her. She still pushes through it. She lets her cousins and all that stuff like that jump on her and everything, but it comes with a price. Yeah. So the trickiest portion will of course be here where the hands are. And that's okay. So we're just going to go with basic shapes. So like right here where the pommel of the sword is, we're just going to kind of make, we can see that little section right here that's curved where his nose would be. We're just going to kind of round it out like so. Almost making it look like it's a big nose.
Okay.
And that will represent his fist. And then over here, we've got his arm, right? And I'm going to extend this a little bit here so we can see that. It kind of comes down and up. Once we get the arms out of the way, then we can get started on our painting portion. It's going to be fantastic. And if I will bring my original piece in here too, we again see that if I bring it a little closer, it's all about the coloring and stuff. So it's not too fancy, but it just gets the point across. A little bit of his nose is showing. We'll get that because you can see that. Let me mark it. In the original, it's right above the edge there. So we can always kind of mark that if we need to, but we'll get that later. Here on the arm, just going to go ahead and kind of just do a shape like so to indicate elbows.
Okay.
Excuse me. And his little gauntlets, they're kind of big. So I just go at like an angle. Let me make this really dark. So. It sounds like a typewriter over there.
Right, I know. I'm just like doing my best to like get it to stick.
I don't understand why it must be that Dollar Tree canvas. That's what it is.
Probably is.
It got you. It got you.
They totally got me.
Oh, it's all good. It's funny because the canvas that I'm working on, it's actually like paper canvas, or rather canvas strips that they sell in like a notepad, which is totally fantastic. And that wasn't expensive either. I think I got it at Ross for like $5 because I'm like, oh, I can use these when I'm not doing my more extensive artwork.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure why yours is tripping you up because I mean, my pencil's going on pretty easily. Yeah. We're gonna blame your mom for this one. Just go ahead. Just go ahead. Your mom and be like, yeah, sure, you got all the fancy art equipment that you won't let Alasia touch until she's like, 40, but but still, your pencil won't even go on canvas. What's that all about?
Basically. And I'm just wondering if it's because it's dry, but it's still a tad bit tacky. I'm just wondering if that might
still, my goodness.
Yeah, I mean it's like to touch, it's a little little tiny sticky.
Interesting.
So, and
Mine is like
I'm using Master's Touch. I don't know, like it might be my art, my paint, itself.
Yeah, I'm using the cheaper stuff, so it might dry faster. Yours might, because obviously the more expensive stuff, you want to work with a little bit more precision and things like that.
Sure.
So again, I'm just going to blame your mom for her art supplies. Where's the cheap stuff at? Come on now.
Yep, basically.
Like that's what you do, as you get older. You just blame your mom for everything. Personal responsibility. We don't talk about that here.
No, it's not my
What
problem.
is that? That's not my problem. It's your problem. It's 2022. Get with the times. We don't take responsibility for our actions. Is the gauntlet on there? Have we gotten that?
Kind of, yeah. I think I can see where the gauntlet is and the elbows are. So I think we're there.
Okay. All right. On the other side too, or do we?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I wasn't quite sure, so I was waiting. I'm like, I didn't want to like jump the gun and be like, oh, I went the wrong way. What am I doing? I got my angles wrong. Now I've messed it up. See, look at that, Johnny. When we talk about happy catastrophes,
yes.
Oh, sir. All right, but we'll fix it later. Okay. We got all that. I think we're good to go. We've got a rough idea of everything, where everything needs to go. So I'm going to retire my little pencil over to the side. Yeah, Dr. Rachel says personal responsibility. Never heard of her. That's right. Personal responsibility is a pronoun. Did you know that? Here we go. Pronouns in the bio. So here we go. We're going to switch over to a detail brush. Not a detail brush, the 1/2-inch brush. Okay. So I can cover quite a bit of. Let's see. You got this, Tabitha. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you for the encouragement. That's right. I always tell people that is the hard part about doing these streams. It's like, yeah, so I can do all these beautiful art pieces, blah, blah, blah. And then you see what I do in person and here, because it's like, it's not like a passionate art piece. And so it's like, man, I hope this doesn't look like crap, because otherwise I look like I'm talking a big talk. But I'm like, I swear I make nice things,
Yep.
So I think what we're going to do first is color the mouse's fur, because we're working with a lighter color before we transfer over to doing the cape.
Okay.
And let's see here. Let me get my beige. Whoops, I haven't poured that out yet. All right. And we're going to be doing a mix of the beige and then coupling it with some white to get the belly. And then just go ahead and show what we're doing here. We're going to be just carefully going around, and we can see, it's just got my beige here, and then I added some white in here. And if you look closely again, oops, there we go. Try to find the camera. Stroke pattern makes a difference. So a lot of this I just kind of filled out with this, but then I did little strokes like so that way it kind of looks like there's some fur. We'll cover more of that with the coloring pencil later on. And then you can see here more in the belly that I just did like little tiny strokes. So that way it looks like individual fur there. Okay. And that good stuff. So we'll give it a shot. First, we'll just put a layer down. I'm going to go into my beige over here. Get just a little bit on there. Lady Marine says, I'm glad I wore my Cara Chibi shirt today. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so here we go. I'm just going to start at the top up here and just kind of carefully go around the sword. We might see some of the background kind of peeking through. That's okay. Because we're going to thicken up the paint a little bit with the white when it comes time to doing more of the belly. Right now, we're just kind of putting down a first layer. You said, is something wrong?
Yeah, this brush is giving me a tad bit of grief. It's okay. I think I got it.
What's the brush doing now? Do I need to talk to it?
You might need to.
What's going on though with it?
I didn't blend my color just quite as much as I should have. So it's just it's me. I'm having a moment. Me and the brush need to just have a heart to heart.
You want me to mute your mic and let you
have a talk with it?
Have it come to Jesus meeting?
Basically.
Don't embarrass me. I'm in front of my friends and my family. I'm talking on the live TV here.
Right, exactly. Can you please just cooperate?
Just like a mom with their children. Like, I will
Yep.
buy you the freaking Snickers. Just behave. Okay. Just like I said, we're just kind of putting down a first layer. It doesn't need to be spot on necessarily because we'll clean things up. I mean, if we can get it as nice as possible, sure. So we don't have to worry about it later, but it's all good. Don't have the paint too thick, so that way it dries easier, faster. Here we go. But so far, I mean, we've just started on. Lady Marine says, Alasia! Exclamation point, by the way. You know how to use a brush. LOL.
That remains to. I know how to use a brush on a paper mache sculpture and on furniture. On a canvas is a whole other thing. I haven't done this since high school.
Ooh, all right. That's excellent.
Yeah, in high school I drew. Do you know on the Chronicles of Narnia there's that one big single volume, and it's got Aslan on the front. It looks like he's looking through fire.
Is it black? Like the edges?
Yeah, the spine is black, but the front is like this really beautiful gold, and it's got a lion on the front.
Yes, I do.
So I drew that, and then I drew Jewel from the last battle. And then like I've drawn a wolf poking through leaves and stuff. So I used to do more of this, but again, I just found that painting was not my calling. So
and I appreciate you being willing to be on the stream to give the not calling a chance and come to hang out and have a chat and just see where this project would take us.
Yeah, no, well, the thing is, it's like you were very like not stressful. So
okay.
I knew that like I'd be calm with you because most times I am not calm especially when it comes to art. I'm like way too uptight.
I understand that. Like I can be pretty uptight about my own stuff. I think having worked in a studio for years, because I hold myself to a high standard. We all do, right? And so it really helped working with especially adults, but children and teenagers as well, is seeing how we give ourselves too much of a hard time because as we get older, when we're adults, it's difficult for us, I think, to try new things because we're not good at it right away. And because we've been humans our whole lives, we're pretty proficient at most things that we do, eating, drinking, walking, conversation, things like that. And so when we try something new, it takes us back to this vulnerable state of ignorance. And it's kind of hard to be okay with being on the level, if you will, as a child or, an infant, if you will, for something new. And it's kind of embarrassing. And so I always tell people, it's like when it comes to artwork, like, you're going to try doing something you have either never done before or something you haven't done in a really long time. We don't expect children when they're born to start walking right away. It's something that you have to practice and you have to learn. So you can't expect yourself to be just proficient and amazing the first time you pick up a paintbrush. You don't realize what goes into creating art. Like I talked about before, you have to develop muscle strength. I tell people that the muscles that I have in my arms, my hands, everything like that, it's not for strength, it's for precision.
Yeah.
So, I might not be able to bench press whatever, but a bench pressed person, although they've got so many muscles, they will not be able to hold a paintbrush like this for hours doing just delicate strokes to blend and whatever like that. Whereas I do because this is my life. And so people don't take that into consideration. And then also you learn to have an eye for composition, an eye for color and all of these kinds of things. So people, trying to encourage them when they do something new, it is almost like encouraging a child, but it's not like doing that out of condescension.
Yeah.
It's doing that because it's the same process. You're trying something new for the first time. You're doing a great job at something new, by my standards. Yeah, of course it's awful or whatever like that, because I've been doing this for a long, longer period of time. And so having learned that has really helped me with the painting streams for sure. And then just people in general with, again, coming back to life in full circle, you know, talking to people about conversations, even greeters at church, you know, like I didn't used to be I'm like you. Okay, let's talk about this. I was wondering if this would come up. I myself am very much an introvert. Meeting new people, going places I don't know. No, thank you.
Yes.
But I was at a church a couple years ago to attend, and he had this gift for being able to spot potential in people and embracing and encouraging that in a person, basically nurturing it. And, you know, I'm not necessarily tooting my own horn or anything, but like I'm a pretty friendly person.
Yeah, no, you are, girl.
because I've struggled, and I have even been bullied with being introverted, being the quiet person, being in the background. I know what that feels like. And so, you know, when you go to church or anywhere, but when you go to church and people don't talk to you because you're new, I know what that feels like. So I would go up to people and want to make them feel comfortable because I've been there. And so the pastor, I guess, saw that, and he was like, I want you to be part of the greeting team. And I'm like, me? I don't like people. Like, people make me nervous. I don't know what to say. I fumble over my words. And he was just like, no, he's like, sis, I think you got something there. Give it a try, blah, blah, blah. And it was actually something, while it's not necessarily my nature to do that, I did enjoy it because I do like seeing people feel comfortable. I do like seeing people happy. And because of my awkwardness, people don't know that what I do with my awkwardness is that I turn it, I transform it into friendliness and like silly conversation, right? So people think I'm funny. I'm not, because like, for whatever reason, it's not because I'm trying to be funny. It's because I'm really awkward. And I have found that when you kind of make it an opening conversation, when you're greeting somebody awkward and kind of funny, they laugh at that with you. And then suddenly you've kind of got this moment, like they're smiling, so they feel more at ease being in your presence. And now you have a story for like the next time they would come to church. It'd be like, oh, I promise I won't talk about ants this time. You know? So now you've made this connection. And I just think that's so interesting how, as an introvert, you know, thank God for that pastor that I had, was able to see that, because when you think of an introvert, you don't think of a greeter. You don't think of a person, you know, like that. But it's like, I could use, I don't know if you want to really call it a weakness, but more of like I'll just say for myself, I thought it was a weakness, you know, not being necessarily good with people and everything like that. But it's like, no, I know what, you know, that experience, I know what that feels like, feeling like you're on the outside, wishing someone would make you feel welcome. And I just use my awkwardness to make people feel comfortable. What a contradiction. I think that's hilarious.
Yeah, no, I hear you, girl. Like I'm, you know me, I'm also on the introvert corner, and so is Johnny. So it's like, we like, you know, the meetup at Dallas, like we literally, it's not even an exaggeration, we had a introvert corner and we all just kind of stuck
to it. Oh, you know, the introvert corner, you find your people, man. Like,
you just stay there.
Exactly. And you don't leave, because if you leave, then people will find you.
You talk to you.
So I don't know if you've painted both sides just yet.
I have, yes.
Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and do the arms as well.
Okay.
So around the ears. So if you don't mind, I was actually going to ask you about that. So you were saying, you know, being awkward, being an introvert, traveling. So did you know any of the people? I mean, like, actually know any of the people that you were going to go see at this event? And like, how, if you didn't, what made you decide, I'm going to get out of my shell? I'm going to leave my little square of comfort. And be like, I'm doing this.
So like I knew MVP Maxfield Von Presley, who's, I know you've been in his stream a couple times. I knew him. I I knew a couple other YouTubers. I'd been on their channels before. I didn't, and unfortunately, I have met Tugs in person, but she wasn't at the meetup itself. And so I you know, it's funny. It's funny. I don't really know why I went, to be honest with you. I think that the spirit was kind of moving in me, because for those who kind of have an understanding of me, I help my mom take care of my grandmother. She has advanced Alzheimer's. So I stay at home with my mom and we take care of her. So it's actually pretty difficult for us to leave the house for really extended periods of time. So it was kind of an undertaking but I haven't been out of the house in 3 years. I haven't really had any time to do my own thing in 3 years. And I just was really needing a break, and Dallas was close enough, because I didn't really want to do Vegas. Again, for people who are familiar with my channel and know me, I don't drink, I don't party. I'm just not that kind of girl. And so Vegas, I was like kind of uncomfortable with the thought of going for those reasons. And I know that for some that probably sounds like stuck up and prudish. It's like, get over it. But it's just
but yeah, you don't fit in. You're like, well, I guess I'll just literally sit in my corner and not drink. Right.
Basically, yeah. It's like, and because it's Vegas, we have this mentality about Vegas that's just like, if you're there, of course you're drinking. And it is. I was just like, been there, done that, being in a group of people who drink and I don't. Like, it's too awkward for words for me. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go to Dallas and I'm just gonna try and be brave and get out of my corner. And and I mean, like, Johnny and I really haven't talked about how we got together, but like he texted me when I got into Dallas, and he's like, because I was really late because I hit rush hour traffic. He's like, where are you? I was like, I'm trying to get ready, because I was very close to not going to the meetup, actually, because I was so physically exhausted from the drive. It was a 10-hour drive, and driving by yourself for that many hours is long and it's hard.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It's funny, kind of like why I ended up in Dallas and why I went. I'm super glad I did. I met Jeremy and I met Nerdrotic and I met Young Ripa and got to hang out with Tugs. I haven't seen her. We streamed together and stuff, but I actually haven't seen her in 2 years. So that was really nice to get to hang out with her at the con itself. So I don't have like a pat answer for you about why I went, but I am deeply glad I did. Because I not only did I need it, but I think it was motivation for me to keep going in this world.
Yes. I think maybe, I don't know, did so 2020 didn't really change much of my life, I'm gonna be honest. It was pretty much the same kind of lifestyle that I lived. I ordered things off of Amazon. I work from home, so like my world really didn't shake or change. By the way, I'm starting on the head.
Okay,
I don't know where you're at exactly, but
I'm just done with the arms, so I will start on the head.
Working on the head. And so I've shared my story before, I think really just on Twitter. And because I have like a similar experience, so some may know, they might have seen me on like the Park Hoppin' channel. I actually went down to Florida and I did hang out with DreamingTabitha, and that was really fun. But man, I tell you, that was nerve-wracking. Like it's a conflict, because it's like, I want to, I don't want to, because that means I have to leave my house.
Yep. Yes.
And so back in 2020, and just share my story here with everybody, is that, hey, it's MVP. He says, hey, you too. Oh. Hello. Thank you for stopping by. He heard you summon him. It's like Beetlejuice, but only you only had to say his name one time. So, so back in 2020, and again, not like trying to be like political or whatever the case might be, but we may all have heard of a young man named Aubrey Assad. I think it was Assad Aubrey Assad. I can't remember which way it goes. But anyway, there was a young man that unfortunately was shot and killed. And unfortunately, we hear of stories like this all the time. And we kind of have grown kind of cold towards it because it's so commonplace. Oh, another person died. And that's sad. It really is. But I struggle with getting older. I'm not gonna lie about that because of change. When you get older, things change. People
Yep.
die. Your hair changes color. Your body's not able to do the things it used to. Like whatever comes with change. You know, kids grow up and they're not the cute, sweet little things you remember them being, but now they're making bad decisions. Like change. I just don't like it, right?
Yeah.
And hello to the new people that are here. We're just kind of sharing some stories while Alasia's painting a mouse. We are doing Martin the Warrior. But so anyway. God really spoke to me. Like I was struggling with some stuff and I'd always wanted to travel and do stuff, but just never had the courage to do it. Right.
Mhm,
So for whatever reason, this person's story, I saw it on Twitter and it just like God just kind of convicted my heart. Like I saw the picture of this young man. I think he was 18 or 21, something like that. I think I just entered into my 30s around that time, thereabouts. And all of a sudden it was like, how dare I be afraid of getting older? This man never will. He wishes he had the fear that I have of getting older. He'll never get to have that. And that just like clear as a day, like that entire thought process just filled my brain like it never had before. And it just kind of crushed in a good way, but it kind of crushed my heart because it's like, man, I am wasting time. This guy will never graduate. I can't remember how old he was. He'll never graduate college. He'll never get married. He'll never have kids. He'll never get that dream job, take that trip to Cancun or whatever the case might be. And here I am living my life in my own little box, afraid of getting older.
Yeah.
I tell you what, that just kind of spoke to me on such a level. And so then all of a sudden this opportunity, actually it wasn't saying all of a sudden, it was like, okay, like fast forward like a year and a half, whatever like that, getting to know all these people on Twitter. And I saw other people were going to Florida and hanging out with other people, like this community all of a sudden I was in and had the opportunity to go down there myself and meet somebody I didn't know. But that opened the door for me. Like I started traveling and visiting and seeing my friends more.
Yeah.
But then this was giving me the opportunity to meet people I didn't even know. Like just breaking out of my box and living life. That was really difficult.
Yeah.
And it's kind of sad that it takes us so long to live life.
Yes.
I'm still young, of course, but think of all the time I kind of wasted sitting in my world waiting for whatever. I don't even know what I was waiting for. Because life's never going to be comfortable.
Exactly.
So, yeah, it just has like, I'm going to do this. I mean, of course, I made sure I checked with my mom. I'm like, are you okay with this? Is it all right? Because, you know, I'm going down to meet somebody I don't know who they are.
Yep.
You know, go through all the proper channels.
Exactly. Yeah. No, like for me, like 2020 did really pretty radically change my life because I was so accustomed to being at university and every day and being with my friends and being with my professors and all this stuff. So that was a real struggle for me. And so finding this online community, finding, you know, all of the people through Geeks and Gamers and through Nerdrotic, and then branching out and finding different people and just finding this online community, that really did help my mental health. And, you know, meeting people now who are very near and dear to my heart. It really, so 2020 was a shock to my system because I also moved back from Ireland. So to like go from like Europe to being stuck at home all the time, that was difficult.
Yeah, for sure. How's your mouse coming along? Does he look kind of like mine? A ghostly, ghoulish figure in the wind.
Yeah, let me. Yeah, it's yes, I'm definitely getting there.
Excellent. And I mean, as long as it's looking like a mouse and everything.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I filled in the feet. Oops.
That's okay. That's okay. We can always change that. That's the great thing about acrylic paint. Would you mind showing our viewers your?
Oh gosh! All right, hold on a second.
I'll put you on the big screen. Make it even worse.
No,
it's gonna be better than you think it is. Yeah, there we go. No, it looks like little vermin. The background's really cool. Yours almost looks like rain. Mine looks like wind. Yours looks like rain, that's really cool. See, look at that.
Yeah, I just realized how. Oh my gosh, my eyes are crooked. Good heavens above.
we can change that.
Oh man, that's the one thing. Do you hold your art up to a mirror and look at it?
No, I've never done that before. I've heard that you should. I haven't done that.
Well, if you want your self-confidence to plummet, maybe don't, because it shows you how
See,
quick
I'm already on the struggle bus for that, so why would I want to hurt myself?
Yeah, don't do that.
So we've got all this going on. We got it filled in. So I'm not going to rinse my brush. I'm actually going to put some more of this beige on here, get a little bit of white.
Okay.
Let me put this over here so we can see, hopefully. And it doesn't need to be perfectly blended either.
Okay.
So that way it looks again like we've got different highlights and shadows going on with the fur. So I'm going to go around real quickly. I mean, you've got your stencil for reference, but I'm also going to show you my artwork here. Okay. And you can see below the gauntlets and then above the sword, we kind of come at a V down here because it's the way the bellies are before you get to the hips and stuff like that. And we're just going to do little strokes like so coming out from the sword. Let me do a couple here so you can kind of see. Looking like fur.
Okay.
I hear the seriousness in your voice. Like, okay. Like, be free, Elijah. It's okay. Be free. Don't relax a little bit. Like maybe like shrug your shoulders a little bit. It's all good. Like, okay. It's like, it's not a test. It's like, there's no pass fail. Like it's all pass.
Oh my gosh, girl, I love you. That's also why I agreed to come on, because I was like, I know Tabitha will make this fun because I am so like
okay, good.
Because I about this stuff.
I try my best. I know what it feels like. So, sometimes I have to have somebody else look at my artwork too and be like, I hate this. I can't get this right. And they'll look at it and say, what's wrong with it? Be like, can't you see?
Right.
And they're like, I guess so. I just didn't notice it. It's like, oh, so I'm being dramatic for no reason?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Good to know. Yeah. So yeah, just as long as it just kind of looks like some fur, it's all good. Do it on the other side. It's a lot of mirroring when it comes to doing people or creatures, because obviously unless we're lame or have an accident or something, we're all gonna have two arms, two eyes.
Yeah.
Unless you want to tell a little bit more of a rough story. This is Martin the Warrior. You see, he's missing a leg. Oh, let me tell you about the time. Whatever. Again, just make a story. It's all good. Character design is something I'd really like to get into, because eventually we kind of talked about that a while ago, was writing books. And I would love, here's my dream. I'm just going to post it out here for the whole internet to hear. Is that I would love to write my own books and create my own art for the books, illustrate my own books. And that would be it. So I would love to work more on character design and just kind of keep it old school. I have been doing like some digital artwork and it's amazing. It's kind of a game changer, but at the same time, it's kind of like my books. I love the tangible, like when you're working on a digital surface, you don't get to feel the resistance from the paint congealing. You don't feel the roughness of the paper underneath your pencil. And all of that for me is part of the experience. I think digital art has its place. Like I said, I've worked with it a little bit myself and I love it. But at the same time, it's just not, there's just something about it. Something about it.
Yeah. Now my mom's gotten into, so I got her an Apple Pencil and she's really loved drawing on her iPad. But yeah, no, she still likes going back to her her pen and paper and stuff. And again, it's I'm the writer of the family. Like that's what I do. Words are my canvas. So, but I very much enjoy looking at her digital art because it is so good.
Somebody says traditional is the way to go. It just depends on the person. It's no wrong way, just preferred ways. How's the belly going? How's the fur? It's okay if it's looking a little nappy, okay? Because again, he's a warrior. He shouldn't be pristine.
Well,
so.
it's just I'm not getting the brush strokes. Again, I think it's differences between our two paint products. And this maybe, I don't know. I mean, aren't all canvases now prepared? I mean, they don't sell unprepared canvases anymore, do they?
You can make your own.
Okay.
You know, and then you have to put the gesso and stuff like that on there. Raw canvas, if you will. Yeah, they do make those.
Okay. Yeah, it's just I don't know. This is where it's what it is. It's becoming very liney. It's like a straight line, and I'm doing my best to not get away from the straight line, but it's just not cooperating with me.
Yeah, and sometimes it doesn't. And that was, you know, what that guy said earlier. Improvisation and painting. You know, that's just kind of figuring it out. Again, as long as it looks like a mouse and he looks all furry. I would say as long as he looks happy, but this is a very serious kind of mouse.
Yeah.
So, you know. So.
I feel like we're doing the Martin the Warrior before he became the monk and hung up his sword.
Yeah. And just some light strokes, like so when you press down and you lift off gently, that's how you get, you know, these nice little fluffy bits.
Yeah. All right.
Oh shoot, I just dumped my entire hand. Well, not my entire hand, but like my thumb into black paint. It looked like a Dalmatian. Get this off here. I know that's gonna. You know, that is a dog. This is like way off topic here, but that is a dog breed that I have not seen in a long time. What happened to the Dalmatians? Do they still exist? Are they extinct? Like, what happened? Like,
I know that they for a while there they were being so overbred that they were not living very long.
Oh, okay.
Horrible, dark, somber note, but the only Dalmatian I've ever seen literally has been in Ireland. It was weird.
Oh, it's interesting. The last time I think I saw a Dalmatian. Oh my gosh. I know I had some friends that had a Dalmatian one time. His name was Bandit. But I don't know if I've seen a Dalmatian in the real world since then. Apparently it's not a popular breed anymore.
Johnny might actually know. He worked at a big kennel in California. He might.
I did it. I got paint all over my brush. What happened?
Oh no!
I didn't even see that till I looked at the screen and I'm like, what's that stuff on the... That's all right. We can recover from that. I'm a hot mess over here. That's okay. Okay. All right. Calm down. So got the head, got the thing. So we're going to take a little bit of the light paint and go around the eyes as well. I'm just going to go ahead and show you like so, just kind of holding my paintbrush at an angle, slightly vertical, and just kind of fluff it out here using the kind of the V pattern again, using the eyes as a guideline. And going
my
up
eyes are so crooked. I'm
well, so you can straighten them out now, like with us. Okay. Dalmatians are much more rare than people think. Barely saw them when I worked with dogs for 7 years. Okay. So, hey, Kaylee, good to see you. Glad that you're popping by. We are working on our Martin the Warrior here. Dalmatians are bad with kids, so not a lot of people get them. They're kind of buttholes. I have heard this. I have heard that they're not exactly a family kind of dog. Family breed. So yeah, I can't remember the last time I saw a Dalmatian. I think I've seen more Great Pyrenees than I have Dalmatians in the last couple of years. And that's saying something because they're not a popular breed either. So here we go. Did you figure out your eyes?
We'll see.
But hopefully it's coming to pass. You can kind of see the whole thing together. How it's starting to look a little bit more interesting than it was when we first started.
Yes, for sure.
Okay, that's really what I was hoping for too. Okay. Let's see here. Bruce Lombardo says, I'm off. God bless your hands, ladies. Thank you so much. You have a great day. Thank you for stopping by. And I see Kaylee throwing in links in there. Thank you so much for that. Kaylee's awesome. Hope she's having a great day. All right. We don't really have that much more to go. I'm being optimistic about that, but but really we've got like the first layer down. It's again already starting to look more interesting, and so we're just kind of putting some simple details with the fur on here right now. Whenever we get done with the fur, we're going to rinse our brush and start in on the cape, and I think that's really going to help you see everything come to life. We're going to save the detail brush for the end when we do like the tail, the sword, the details of the face. But I really want to get like a mass portion, like the vast portion of the character itself done before we go into the details, because I think that's going to really help sway your view, perhaps, of your creation.
We'll see. Yeah. All right. Give me 1 second.
That's okay. Shrug it out.
My eyes are just like, they're like, no, we will not straighten up. So we'll see. We'll see how even I can get these eyes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know what? Again, we'll just say it's after a battle. We can put a patch on it. Let's just
there you go.
The story. It's all good. Let me see if I can clean up my.
I mean, Martin did have to battle a wildcat at one point, so.
Yeah. See, so I don't think he'd be too mad. He'd be like, "I look mighty handsome there." Like,
right.
Okay. Now, they say that men are far more attractive if they have scars. What are your thoughts on that?
Ooh, Like facial scars?
Like what? Sorry?
Like facial scars?
Yeah, that too.
I don't know.
Like physical scars, not emotional scars. I think men with emotional scars are probably less attractive.
Yeah. Well,
I know we all have them, men. Just saying. I'm just saying.
Well, it depends on how you deal with those said scars.
Exactly.
You're
Exactly.
healing and growing from them and learning from them. Well, mine looks like a raccoon, so that's okay. What was I saying? Oh, it depends. So I grew up in a slightly rougher neighborhood in Albuquerque. Mm-hmm. So scars here can mean a kind of a lot of different things. So okay. I would want to know where said scars came from before I decide.
Okay. Interesting.
Like, if you're a gangbanger, yeah, I'm good. I'll pass.
Miss Biggles Met says, I've never had a girl tell me my scars are attractive. It's not that you really it depends. I guess it depends on the scar. If it's like an acne scar, well, but a nice clean cut across the cheek, or part of the missing, the gap in the eyebrow, like Jason Momoa or something like that. I guess it just depends.
I do not find Jason Momoa attractive, like in any way, shape, or form. I don't understand the obsession.
So that was great to have Alasia here for today. Sorry, guys, we will not be able to see what the rest of her painting looks like.
Just the look on your face. You didn't even blink.
I'm not saying he's God's gift to women, but I do find him attractive, I will admit.
Oh my gosh, that was fantastic.
I can't kick Lady Marine from the stream because she agrees with you. So she's like, kick me out too because he looks like he is a stinky man. Oh, well, I mean, I'm not necessarily a big fan of men with long hair. There's very few, like maybe like Kevin Sorbo that can kind of pull it off. But yeah. Kevin Sorbo's hair does look like it's been thoroughly washed and conditioned on the regulars. Dr. Rachel's like, the stream ended early.
And we're done.
So, well, with that, it was just
Get back to painting, y'all.
Did you get all your fur?
I did. Yes, I got my fur.
So I'm going to go in with my green here, and not the dark green just yet. We're going to bounce back and forth. We're going to go with our feelings here about it. So I'm going to start with just like this green over here. Did I say not with the dark green? Is that what I just said? Because I totally just dipped into the dark green.
Yeah, I was like, wait, hold on, which one?
Mrs. R2 says, Dreaming Tabitha, I'm with you, girl. We've got, was it 3 exclamation points? Yes. Discount Superhero says, careful there. Go easy on us long-haired men. Most of us are wildly misunderstood. This is true. I mean, there are some men I'm not a big advocate for men with long hair. It's not my personal preference, but there are a few guys I think that can pull it off. I think it depends on if they take care of it too. Like, do they look clean?
Yeah.
So I did go into my dark green, and we're just going to do that since I'm here already. And so remember, we carved out this little section here because we're going to use that as a highlight. So we're just going to go ahead and start with the dark green here. And kind of like our background, everything that we do is basically going to show up later on, and it prepares us. So we're just going to do some little strokes out this way. So that way it's going to look like the fabric maneuvers around the body and just flowing in the wind here that we have apparently created. Dr. Rachel says, hair or no hair, I'm not too picky. Long rocker hair is attractive, yet my anime crush is bald. So, well, there you go. I am a little bit picky. I like me a good soccer haircut, like the nice fade, like the
nice.
I like me a good soccer dude kind of haircut. There we go. Now, don't take this too seriously, okay? This is meant to be a little bit flighty, a little bit whimsical, because it's just flapping in the breeze here. It's all good. Or the rain, whichever force of nature you're working with in your painting.
Yes.
And if I bring my original one, we can see that I went over the line and it kind of looks a little bit broken, a little bit.
Yeah, I like that.
There. So feel free to kind of go over the line a little bit, cover up our traced outline there. Our tracing outline. And you can already see that by having just different amounts of paint on here, it looks like I have highlights and shadows in here. So it's working for our advantage. We don't even have to do a lot of extra work. We're going to do a little extra work, but not a lot, just to enhance things here and there. But this already is looking really nice. I'm not saying that for my part, but like, hopefully I'm sure yours is too.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I had quite a bit of paint still on my brush, so it did not go on quite as nicely as yours, but I'm going to try and do that.
Well, and again, that has to do with, experience, learning how and all that. The pressure to apply to the brush and everything like that. So I'm sure it looks good. As long as he looks like he's got a cape on there. Stunning and brave Megatron. Hello, how are you today? He says he has short, dark auburn hair. Very nice. I have a friend that has some of the most beautiful auburn hair I've ever seen in my life. I thought she was a brunette. And the first time I met her, and she has gorgeous curls, and she walked into the sunlight. We were on the campgrounds for a church function, and there's a lot of trees and stuff like that. And I thought she was a brunette, and she walked into the sunlight. I swear it was like a fantasy movie, like magic or whatever. She walked into a stream of sunlight, and her hair just magically turned into this reddish color. And it was just gorgeous. I'm like, Whitney, your hair's red? And she's like, kind of. I'm like, this is brand new information.
Oh, that's funny.
And so her hair just kind of changes color. It's absolutely beautiful. Some of the most beautiful hair I've ever seen in my life. Lil Spidey, DreamingTabitha, I have a soccer haircut. Well, then you must be one of the most attractive men in the chat. Of course, little Spidey. Just hands down.
So I used to dye my hair when in my early 20s, and I went brunette for a long time. And then it started turning black. So I gradually grew my hair back out. So I used to be a truer blonde, but now I'm even more of a darker, dirty blonde than I ever was. So I used to be blonde, but once I started dyeing it, it just changes the structure of your hair. So back then it was this darker, dirtier blonde.
I will never be a blonde. I may or may not have aught against blondes. No offense. But I do love my brunette hair. I've had highlights before, but I never go crazy. I always try to get something natural looking just to kind of elevate what I've got going on. Biggles Met says, I was told my hair is perfect for someone learning how to cut hair. Well, good.
Cool.
Okay.
That's
Excellent.
awesome.
Lady Marine says, I won't say what I'm pretty sure Alasia expects me to say about hair. I feel like this was a previous stream and the conversation went into a interesting place, but I can't remember.
I honestly can't remember now either. Give me a second, big sis. I'll think about it. It may come.
And then Cajun Corey Rourke says, I'm bald, but have a great beard. That seems to be the case. A lot of guys that are bald have like these amazing full beards.
Yeah.
I am putting more like of the thicker of application of the green paint, this dark green paint, closer to the body so that it looks like it's in the shadows here.
Okay.
Lady Marine says, yep. And I'm wondering if it's because of the stream that I'm thinking of. Oh my goodness. And I'm just going to go ahead and show you a little bit here. So we're already prepared. He said, I used to rock the mullet when I was in elementary school. False. I don't know a single person that can rock a mullet.
This is true. Very true.
To each their own, of course. It's not a haircut I've ever found attractive. I'm going to get the tiniest bit of black on my over here.
Okay.
Black on my brush. Very tiny. In fact, I'm going to just kind of wipe it out because it's always easy to add more.
Yep.
And I'm going to go close to the body, do the same streaks out with the green, so that way it just gets a little bit darker. Fan it out so it really gets a nice, strong shadow going. And just kind of play around with it. Again, use your stencil kind of as a reference there. I'm going to try again. Try not to take it too seriously. There is, of course, like I always say, good and better ways to do things. Sometimes, it doesn't always work out exactly how you thought it would. You just play around with it and just kind of let go. Be free. Fly away, Stanley. Be free. And just see where the paint takes you. Sending Brave Megatron says, just me. I was a hockey player. And Biggles Met says, hockey players rock mullets. I guess. I never really got into hockey. I'd love to go to a game one time because it looks pretty intense. I love pretty much like all sports anyway.
Oh, see, you're I'm like, I watch competitive dancing. That's my.
There you go.
No,
I will watch that too.
Yeah. No, I'm like, I am not I'm so uninitiated when it comes to sports.
Well, here's the thing. I don't really know jack squat about the rules and everything like that.
Yeah.
I just know, good team, bad team, ball goes here. And let's go team. I'm a big soccer fan.
Nice.
But and I used to be a football fan, but ever since I watched rugby, American soccer is for pansies. So just like once you've seen a bunch of men with thighs the size of tree trunks,
yes,
bloody and broken, and don't stop every 30 seconds to have a timeout or whatever the case might be, or a lunch break or whatever, like it just doesn't compare. You can't. You just can't.
Yeah.
I was so glad I stumbled upon the World Cup of the rugby world.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't even know that existed, and I'm like, I am all for this. I spent 2 days watching because I was like, that is so cool. Yeah, the rugby players at my school thought that about football players until we hit them. I don't know. Pixar didn't happen. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so hopefully we like what we've got going on here. I'm going to rinse my brush out and pat it dry, and we will probably return to a little bit of the darker color in just a second, but we want to work with our highlights. So I'm getting a little bit of my lighter green and just kind of doing the same thing up here that we did up underneath, just kind of gently stroking across. If it blends too much in with our background, that's okay, because we're going to accentuate this with some highlights and shadowing in a little bit. Okay. But hopefully we can see right here, because we've added this black, if I show you how much better that looks now. Again,
yeah, it does, yeah.
There's some depth here. And it makes all the difference in the world. So a lot of times when people are drawing and painting, they're like, my stuff sucks. It doesn't look that good. It might not be that it doesn't look so good. It might just look unfinished. Like there's an element missing. And that's a big part of art in and of itself, is the embellishments. Like, what can you do to enhance this? So you've got the general picture down. How do you make this look better? Highlights and shadows are really where it's at. Hockey gave me thick thighs. Oh, for sure. Ice skating and all that, for sure. I don't doubt. Yeah, hockey's a pretty tough sport too. Biggles Met says, I can find pics. I just have to find a yearbook.
You know, the thing is, it's like I played volleyball and basketball all throughout high school. And I hated basketball with like every ounce of my being. I was bullied onto the team because I was the only girl over 5'2".
Oh.
So
Yeah.
I was forced to play, but I did really enjoy volleyball. But what I liked about it is that like watching the guys play basketball, that was fun because just being in the atmosphere is fun. Being in the the moment is fun. Being in the arena is fun. Like that to me is fun, but I could never just like watch it on TV. Like that would bore me to tears.
Yeah, me neither. I'm not a big basketball person. The squeaking shoes. I've been to a basketball game, and like you said, the atmosphere fun. I went with a friend. We got to hang out. That was great. But if I would do it on my own, never, because I find basketball just kind of a little, for me, just kind of boring, and I really can't handle the squeaky shoes. Although I think have more respect for basketball players than football players, because basketball, you keep going. You don't stop every 30 seconds to have a Gatorade break. You know what I'm saying? Biggles Med says, I have to go. You ladies have fun. Bye, chat. I hope you have a great rest of the day. Thank you so much for being here. That really means a lot. I appreciate everybody coming, hanging out. Do you like the way your cape is coming out? Is it looking good?
Yeah. Well, the bottom, yes. The top, yeah, is like I can barely distinguish it from the background. So yeah, it's blended in pretty well.
Okay, well then that being the case, if you still have that green on your brush, take just a little bit of like white, not a lot, just a wee bit here. We're working on our blending, our shading, our highlighting. This was the sore spot, right? So
yes.
So we're gonna take it and kind of follow some of the curvature here. So around the neck, we know it kind of gathers. If I just kind of, I don't know if you can see that streak on there or not. Hang on. If it shows up enough. Let me make it a little bit bolder. Put a couple in here. Can you see some of that? Does that make a difference?
Yeah. I see what you're doing.
Okay, and just a couple. We don't want to highlight everything. It's just a couple of streaks to really make it pop. That's all. You don't want it to be too brilliant white. Just kind of layer it on top. Because, yeah, I mean, mine kind of blends in with the background a little bit too. But this is where it kind of... Nope, that's a little much there. I went really extreme. That's okay. There we go. Hey, Rookie Critic. He says, that's one mighty squirrel. Well, you are wrong, sir. You don't know your vermin. No, we're not done yet. So we are doing a mighty mouse named Martin the Warrior from the book series Redwall. And Rookie Critic says, yeah, basketball over football. Dr. Rachel says, I did track and field in high school and loved it, but it's not an exciting sport to watch. Yeah, not really. You know, I love the Olympics and everything like that, but there are some sports I prefer. Are there others? It's the memes of destruction. He says, hey, ladies, what's going on, memes? Hope you are having a fantastic, phantasmagorical kind of day. And Commander or CMDR Phil is here. He says, hail, how's everyone doing? We're making it. I can slowly see some of the muscles in Alasia's shoulders starting to relax a little bit. Just a little bit. We'll get there.
Tanner was like, officially this stream has just turned into making Alasia relax.
Breathe. Somebody get this woman chamomile tea.
Need to go do my yoga afterwards.
That's right. And let's see. Somebody has to head out. Cajun Corey, head out and get some lunch and some errands done. See you. Thank you so much again for being here. I appreciate that.
Hey, Cajun. We'll see you on Monday.
Mayhem Poser says Asian beach volleyball. I don't know. I mean, I've seen, like, again, the Olympics, the different teams playing, you know. Who would win, this little guy or the mouse from Narnia? Reepicheep? Ooh.
Ooh, I think.
Ooh, that's a good.
Oh,
that's a good question.
That's a good question.
That's a really, really good.
I mean, we know how Reepicheep would feel. He'd be so incensed by that question.
Yeah.
Like you
I
just
mean, he would
question
just,
his honor.
I mean, hands down, he would be the one. But at the same time, I don't know.
I feel like Martin would just stand there and be like, "That's cute."
Right? Yeah, yeah. Martin has he's a little bit more. I don't want to say he's more elegant, but he's like more intellectually elegant.
Yes.
Whereas Reepicheep is elegant or eloquent rather.
Yes. But his fighting skills,
And a lot of gusto. So
yeah.
that's kind of rough though. Ooh.
You just like made us choose like two such pivotal characters.
Like Rookie says, one is more mature than the other. That's true. I would say Martin is definitely more mature, but he doesn't. I don't know if he would have kind of the luster and pizzazz that
Yes.
Reepicheep has. So that's rough. That's rough. Well, to be fair, doesn't Reepicheep also fight with a rapier, whereas Martin has like a sword? So I'm gonna go. I think maybe with Martin.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go with Martin. Yeah, because he's got a 2-hand sword, and yeah, Reepicheep just has a
rapier.
So
whenever you get done with your cape and you like how it's going, try not to overthink the highlights because literally you take a step back and it all kind of blends and weaves itself together. I'm going to retire my brush, my 1/2-inch brush, and switch over to my detail brush, the most important brush we could ever own. And again, for anybody that's new here, you can always find Alasia on Twitter at a Trouble Green, and her link tree is in her bio. I was gonna say her biography, her bio. I don't know why that was so weird coming out. Where you can find like all her YouTube stuff and the book reads and like Instagram and stuff like that as well. Correct?
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, my Bookstagram is a Troubled Greens library. So yeah, you can always find me there.
And you can always find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Etsy as well, because, you know, it's my channel. I've got to promote myself. No.
Yes, girl. Get all those things in there.
Right. But yeah, thank you so much for being here with us. The Middle Earth Storytime channel has been reading Redwall. Oh.
Nice. That's awesome.
That is a video you should make, Tabitha, the Battle of the Rodents, or at least a painting of the two battle. How fun that would be.
That would be fun.
So we're going to kind of stick with green at the moment since we're kind of familiar with the coloring system of the green. And I'm holding up, again, we're going to hold Martin up here. So we're going to make the hand here just a little bit darker than the rest. So we're going to start off with the lighter green. This time I'm actually going to start off with the lighter green.
Okay.
Unlike what I did last time. And we're going to do the gauntlets on the side rather than the fist and work our way in there. So let me get some of my lighter green. I might make it just a little bit lighter so we can see it better and just paint that on here. We're getting down to the end. It's just down to these details here. We've gotten a big portion of our painting filled up and we can tell what it is, except for Rookie. He thinks it's a squirrel. I get that. I understand. I get that. So we definitely have a rodent right here. If anybody can't tell that, then we failed somewhere. We're just going to paint both sides here. Coming together nicely. And next month, I'm going to be having Joker's voice on here. We're going to be painting, well, you guessed it, Joker. And Harley Quinn if we can. So that's going to be fun. And I'm looking for some other YouTubers, got some other ideas. If you guys are new here and you don't know, I've been doing a streaming series for the last couple of months, just kind of branching out and trying to be like the cool kids streaming, but teaching YouTubers how to paint. And so I've had people like Justin Proper and Drunk 3PO and others on here. And it's just been really fun. I hope that they've enjoyed it. I hope Alasia's having a good time. Because I think this is fun. It's different, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Having somebody to hang out and teach and just paint and chat, and then everybody else in the chat as well. It's really cool. Lena Marine is sitting here painting a dog. Oh, so see, we're all painting together. We're all painting together. Is anyone else painting or drawing? That's what Lena Marine asks. Yeah. we go. And so I've got my gauntlets painted in this basic, green shade that we've had. And so I'm going to I'm not going to clean the brush, but get a little bit of the darker green on here. So that way it's a little different from the rest of the gauntlet there. It's not much, but we're going to put a little bit of detail in there with fingers so we can really separate this. It's not just one massive green blob. Doug B, hello, says, a lefty. You know us left-handed folks are the only ones in our right minds. Drunk's episode was great. Oh, thank you. Yes. Well, I can paint with the other side. I'm that special. I'm that fancy. You live in this right-handed world. You got to learn a couple of things. And, why isn't it? Where's the movement? Where's the hashtag for my people? Right, left-handed people literally have to adapt to right-handed world, to a right-handed world. So where's the justice for my people? Start a new hashtag trend. I don't think it'll catch on because nobody cares. But I'm just saying. Did you know there was actually a scholarship there? There's sometimes in certain colleges there's a scholarship for left-handed people.
That's interesting. Wow.
The college that I went to, there was even a scholarship for redheaded people. And I'm like, I feel like in some ways this is kind of like discrimination because you're saying that we're kind of weird or different from quote unquote normal people, that we need a special attention, a special portion or whatever like that because we're different. Like it's not, I don't know. For me, it didn't really feel like a compliment. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, no, I very much found it insulting that they were like, well, you can apply for this scholarship because you're a girl. And I'm like, it's not because I'm smart. Like,
exactly.
Okay.
I don't want, saving money for college and all that kind of stuff, that's awesome. But giving me perks because I'm left-handed and not because I can get the work done or my grades speak for themselves or whatever the case might be. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, a little insulting.
Kaylee says, try drawing for a bit. I'm bad at that. Also not good at painting. I just enjoy other people's artwork. You guys are great. Well, anybody can paint, but that doesn't, like I always tell people, it doesn't make you an artist. But, sometimes it's not about creating something beautiful. It's just being able to create something out of nothing. And it's kind of therapeutic no matter how it turns out. Just splashing color on there. Mom noticed I started using my left hand and she kept switching me. Yeah, I was right-handed apparently when I first started my life. And then I switched to left and then I did both. Now I do both, but I'm predominantly left-handed. Well, if I'm doing delicate things like drawing, sewing, whatever that might be, I have to use my left hand. But if I want to use strength, playing baseball, throwing a ball, playing volleyball, chopping wood, whatever the case might be, I use my right hand.
That's interesting.
It just depends on what I need to use my hands for. Did you get everything all colored?
I think, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Would you like, we're almost near the end. So would you like to give us an update, ma'am, about your artwork so we can all see?
Oh, gosh. Sure.
Oh, it looks good. Now, I will admit, yours does look a little bit more like a chipmunk than mine does. But I think that's because he's got the pointy ears, but they're not filled in yet. But this looks good.
Yeah. No, I definitely think it looks like a chipmunk.
I think it's great, though. I like that a lot. The cape looks phenomenal. You got the highlights in just the right spot. That's perfect.
Thank you.
Okay, so I cleaned my brush off, get it nice and dry. We're going to start adding a little bit of the pink sensation here, which, of course, in order to make pink, we need a little bit of red, we need a little bit of white. Just beat it like the devil. I see that over there. Yeah.
Thank you, CMDR. I appreciate that.
Here we go. I've got a little white, little pink. Excuse me, little white, little red. Creating some pink here. I might steal a little bit of my brownish color here for the base of my ear. Here we go. Makes it a little bit more natural color looking. The chipmunk champion. That's right. Okay. And then the ear, pretty simple. So this is where our blending is going to come in. Here we go. Taking it up a notch. Bam. So we're going to start in the ear, and at the base of the ear, it's going to be the darkest. Okay. I might even make this a little bit darker, just a little. So I'm just going to do a couple of strokes upwards to fill in the space here. And then without rinsing my brush, I will go in and get lighter colors. Go back down a little bit, like so. And if you keep stroking up, they slowly start to merge. They don't have to be perfect. Like so. And get a little bit lighter as we go to the top. Get a little bit more. So that way it looks like there's some depth to the ear.
Mm-hmm. You know what? Again, it's frustrating. It's like, I understand everything you're saying because I watched my mom do this my whole life. It's just, again, it's never been my forte to like, you know, do this kind of thing. So it's like, it's funny. It's like, I understand everything you're indicating.
Right.
I've never like
putting it into practice.
Yes. Yeah. You know, like blending colors, shading, understanding your light source. I get that. I can talk my way through it.
You get it on a theoretical level or a practical level. Yeah.
I do. But doing it myself, I'm like, nope.
Well, so how's it coming along with what you're doing right now? Is it working?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good. It's going good.
Okay. So you're kind of figuring it out, it seems.
Yeah. And the thing is also for me, it's like, I don't know about you, kind of at one point, a dry brush kind of starts to aggravate me. So I've been periodically wetting my brush a little bit just to help with the gliding tendency.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I do that from time to time. It depends. Sometimes the like, and then it's again where practice comes in and everything like that. CAMDR Phil, I'm a head out. Have a good rest of the day. Thank you so much for being here. We're almost done, and hopefully you'll catch later on what the grand reveal will be, and hopefully we'll post the grand reveal also on Twitter. So again, be sure to follow us there. Links are in the description box below. But you know, sometimes you can use the congealed paint to your advantage, and that just comes with experience, you know, learning when to wet the brush and all of that stuff. So,
well, and it just, you know, and I've always found as I paint occasionally for my mom, and I do very basic things for her, but it's how the brush feels in your hand. Like, and that's going to feel differently for everybody.
Exactly. Because some people,
sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, some people have a more aggressive attempt to it. Some people are lighter stroked. It all goes into that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And see, I tend to hold. So my issue is, and this gets like, you know, back to what you were saying about like, that no, you know, you literally have a muscle skill set that enables you to hold a fine detailed brush for hours, whereas someone who, you know, hits a baseball every day is not going to have necessarily those same motor skills.
Exactly.
You know, I tend to hold my knitting needles fairly tight, and my stitches are quite tight, but it's interesting when I'm holding a paintbrush, even though I hold the brush somewhat tight, I actually don't put a whole lot of pressure on whatever canvas it is I'm working on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's funny. See, I just think that's so cool. Like even the slightest adjustment throws it all off. For real. Just let you know that darker shade that we used in the ear, we're going to use that for the nose as well.
Okay.
That's that little section, of course, above the fist. Oh, he's looking pretty good. I hope that you're happy with what you have right now, because I do like what you've created thus far. It's easy to understand and recognize what's going on. Like you can tell, like I said, that it's some kind of a creature.
Right.
A mouse-like creature. It's got an intense background. You can tell he's wearing a cloak, got some gloves on, and you can tell he's wearing, you know, even though it's not in there yet, because of the outline, we got a sword going on. Like, so you can tell that this is some kind of medieval folklore something. Yeah. So again, as long as people can kind of recognize what it is that you're doing, even if it doesn't come out exactly how you thought it would, does, you know, again, and this is not something you typically do every day. So I think you're going to be pretty happy with the outcome. I really do. You're like, sure, Tabitha. God bless. Have a great day.
I may need to put boots on my Martin because the legs turned out so incredibly thick. So I may need to morph into boots.
Hey, I think that's fine.
Okay.
That's totally fine. Why not? Okay, so that I was going to say the color we use for the inside of the ear and the nose, I was going to darken it up a little bit and create the feet. If you want to do that and create boots, you can.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Let me get this color going. A little bit darker. Do you know how to make the boots?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
I got it.
All right, good. Okay.
Honestly, I'm just getting even black leather boots.
Oh, very nice. Martin's got style. I like it.
He does have style.
It's got some flair. Oh, I've totally messed up my color. Here we go. We'll just see let's see what happens. I think I've given him a claw too. Poor guy, bless his heart. See if we can recover from this somehow. Give him some toes. There we go. That's what was missing. I think that's why I do much better with painting than anything else. Coloring and writing hurt my hand. Painting, for the most part, is much easier unless I have a giant canvas and I'm blending. Yeah, because, with one stroke of a big brush, you already have significant space covered. Whereas with a pencil, you have to line by line create that big piece.
Mm-hmm.
So I get where you're coming from with that. Absolutely. Okay, got 1 foot. I got to cover up my mistake from earlier. My gosh. We got it going on. It's all good. So what got you into, you said it was knitting, right? Not crocheting?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, knitting.
So have you ever crocheted? Do you prefer knitting over crochet, or you just never really tried?
Yeah, so I tried crocheting. So my mom learned to knit in Sweden when she was an exchange student there.
Dude,
so
what kind of family do you have? Ireland, Sweden? Like what? All right. Keep going.
Yeah, no, we definitely have an obsession with Europe, and I hope to get back there one day.
You're the daughter of a diplomat, aren't you, or an ambassador? You're just not telling us. I see.
Shh, don't figure out my secret, Tabitha.
Sorry, we're on the online. Okay.
So my mom learned in Sweden. So I grew up watching her knit. So when I was about 9, that's when she taught me, and I made my first sweater at 10. So I've been knitting since I was 10. But I did try crochet because I had a great aunt who crocheted, and I just, for the life of me, could not figure out where the other needle was. My brain would not compute. And that's true for a lot of people. A lot of people who knit or crochet, they say they can't do the other just because their brains can't figure out, like, why do we have multiple things now we have to, or why is there only one? Like, I can't get it. So I'm a
crocheter. I've got to say I'm a crocheter because knitting just looked really hard. So.
And I so, like, what I love about crocheting is that there are so many stuffed animal patterns that you can do. Like, Tugs is constantly sending me crocheting patterns, like for stuffed animals, and I'm like, I can't make you that. I'm sorry. So I'm trying to write my own patterns and make my own stuffed animals, but man, that is a task and a half. But
I can imagine.
Yeah,
that's I don't know if you follow the Geeky Crochet, but she does amazing work.
Oh, she does
her stuff. Like,
it's
jaw-dropping. And I think she kind of makes up her own designs as she goes along. Well, she's been doing this for a while.
Yeah.
And I think, she kind of makes it up as she goes. And it's like,
yeah. And like, if you think about like needle gauge, the bigger the knitting needle, the bigger the stitch. She uses like a size 2.
Yeah.
Like, tiny. Yeah.
So
her stuff is
amazing.
Is so inspiring. Like, I'm just so inspired every time she posts something.
Then she hand makes the costumes then too. Yep. Like, shoot, everything.
Incredible.
So I'm using a darker kind of clayish pink color for the tail. So I didn't sketch out. Let me bring back Martin over here. I didn't sketch out the actual tail. I figured we could this is where I want you to relax a little bit more, have some fun, and just make a tail. Like, just make a tail. So we've got a little bit of it coming, obviously, because we can see between the legs outside of the sword here. I've done this portion already, and we're just going to carry it on and just make a nice little tentacle over here to the side. No stress. It can be really ugly in the beginning. That's what I'm doing right now, just like this. A really ugly kind of skimpy line.
Okay.
Nothing fancy, but that's just a place to start. It's like our stick figures. And then we'll just thicken it up as it goes along. And you can curve it however you see fit.
Well, the problem is like it is absolutely blending in with my background.
Oh, okay. Well, again, so just like with the cape, so we're just putting down a fundamental color, and then we can go and hit it with the highlights afterwards. You can even add a little bit more pink if you need, or pink or red if you need to. I'll go ahead and show you if I just kind of do a couple of strokes at the top here. It already brightens it up just a little bit, so it separates it. We're getting you blended all out today. That's what we're doing.
All right.
We're doing it. And then that way you can say never again. Like you did it, now 10 more years down the road, you can try it one more time. You never.
There you go.
A marshmallow sculptures? What? What are you talking about means? What did I miss? Marshmallow sculpture.
I don't know. Okay. This is where it's starting to fall apart.
That sounds really hard. Marshmallow sculpture. How do you sculpt fluff? The world may never know. If anybody could do it, I believe it would be memes. He is a superhero in word form. That's him. Here we go. Lady Marine says, I can't do either. She's like, why would I want to do something that makes me think and have to count? Exactly. I don't crochet often. I do granny squares. I'm happy with that because it looks fancy and pretty, but you do have to count, but it's just the rule of 3. So I'm okay with that. It's all good. All right. How's your tail looking?
Like a worm.
Good. Excellent. It does. It looks pretty much like a worm. And then you add just a little bit of a highlight to the top. Again, it doesn't need to be a perfect line. Just a little bit of the sun catching on the top of the tail there. It's all good.
Well, I put too much red in it. So it looks, it's a little sickly looking.
It's a little sunburnt. I understand.
Yeah, a little bit.
Nothing you can't fix with some of the acrylic paint. We're getting close. Look, all we have to do here. Let me encourage you right here. Bring it in, folks. Is all that we have to do now is the sword and the eyes.
Yeah.
And a little bit of shading on the bottom. Well, with paint. Let me put it this way. All we have to do with paint is the sword and the eyes, and then it's just going to come together with the pencil. So we're doing good.
Oh, well, I hope I can use the pencils. I don't know. Because I was having so much trouble before.
Yes, we will see how that turns out. This is why we're making sure that it looks good without the pencils, and then the pencils are just going to be an enhancement.
Right.
So typically, for those following along with the journey, you know that I typically teach painting, but Alasia was telling me when I was messaging her, she's like, I'm not very good with the painting, but maybe we could do some colored pencils. And I'm like, that takes so much longer. Yeah. So I was like, how could I implement, because I try to make my guests happy. I want them happy with what they're doing. I want them to have a good experience and everything like that. And if there's a request for something, I want to try to keep it. I want to try to do my part for that. And so, I was like, how can I introduce coloring pencils into this? And that's when I thought, so what we're going to be doing here, chat, is you can see here on Martin's fur, there are darker portions of the fur. And I did that with coloring pencils. And then we're just going to add some shadow at the bottom with some black or maybe some really dark brown. And that way we can classify this as a mixed media. Absolutely. So, all right. We're going to go ahead and do the sword, get it out of the way, if that's all good with you.
Yep, that sounds good.
So the sword, we're just going to make some gray. I'm taking, of course, some black, a little bit of white, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I'm making some gray. We're only going to make 49 shades today. So just for the kids. All right, here we go. So I've got kind of like a medium gray here. And we're just going to paint the hilt, the handle, and then the hand guard here, or whatever that's called. I'm going to just kind of come down at an angle like so, just to make it fancy. Make a nice little triangle like so.
Okay.
Little Spidey says, painting is hard. My mom's helps me. Well, little Spidey does an excellent job. He's the one that painted my Boba Fett picture back here and sent it to me, and I love it, so I had to showcase it on every stream. He did a great job. Painting can be hard, you know, and that's okay. To learn something new, try something different, and just grow from the experience for sure. Painting, it's not easy, but nothing good really is. So. Meme says, I hear you, Spidey. Ex Mrs. Memes helped me. All right, getting to know memes in the chat here. There we go. And then the fun part about the sword is that it's going to be a lighter gray, and we're just going to streak it with some white to make it look shiny here. Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fantastic. So I get a little bit more white and just kind of add it to the gray here. Just, I think my sword got a little short, so I'm going to extend here. Whoops.
Well, and somehow my sword got very crooked. It's like,
yeah, mine's not perfect either. I figured I could kind of straighten that out with the paint.
Yeah, my sword was definitely not made at Salamandastron.
Nice.
Lord Brocktrue would be very annoyed.
He'd be very disappointed to be like, Martin would never. He'd be one of the fan bases out there. Be like, they would never, you know.
Right.
Respect the lore.
Hashtag respect the lore.
There we go. Yeah. It's all good.
I think I'm making more like a cleaver instead of a sword.
I know. I'm trying to be very careful myself here. You know, sometimes we can just overdo it, and it's like, all right, let's just do the best we can here. So when you do get it filled like this, I'm going to get a little bit more white, and I don't want it to be pure white necessarily, but I leave the gray on my brush. Just a little bit here. And just kind of carefully, your painting in some places should be nice and dry. And I should have mentioned this before. If you need a little extra stability, I recommend holding the paintbrush really close to the metal. You could always rest your wrist or your pinky, and that might give you a little bit of extra stability here. But I'm just going to kind of go and streak down the side, try to make it as straight as I can. But, you know.
Okay.
And that just automatically, again, like the cloak and everything, adds some emphasis, makes it look a little more realistic. Just like so. And we don't have to do much. That's the fantastic part.
Okay.
Is it working?
Let's see. All right. Give this a shot.
Aha. Excuse me. And chat, we are almost done. So thank you for hanging in there. We have been, can you believe, painting for nearly 3 hours. And, but yeah, you know, I think we're all going to be very surprised and happy with what comes out at the end. I can't wait to peel the tape off of my edges, because there's just something so satisfying about doing that.
Yeah, for sure.
Clean edges peel off.
Have you ever tried pour art? Like you use a hair dryer and everything. Have you ever tried that?
I've never done it with a hairdryer, but if you go into the past, in the dark recesses of my YouTube channel, you'll find a lot of pour art painting.
Okay.
Yeah, that is really that's complicated too. When you start getting into it, you have to learn how to manipulate the paint. It is free flow, like you're not really in charge, but there are things you have to do in order to somewhat control the direction that the paint goes, how much of each color. It's a lot of fun. I had several commissions that I did that are on my channel as well that were fun to do, and I loved doing beach themed, like ocean themed ones, because you could just never do it wrong. It just always looked like the ocean. And I've sold quite a bit of those kind of paintings when I used to go to vendor events and things like that.
Nice.
And it's just so great. So, how'd the sword come out? You like it?
Yes, I think that one is okay.
Excellent.
It's a little thick, but that's okay.
That's all right. This is for when he, is going to go against Reepicheep to make sure he wins. So we're going to get some black. I'm going in for the eyes here. See if we can straighten them out.
Yes.
And just kind of follow the pattern that we've got created. My eyes are a little off too, but that's okay. Let's see if I can straighten them out a little bit. They kind of look like little raisins on his face. That's okay. Mice like raisins, I assume. And, it's just more realistic that way. C4C, hello, good to see you. Because, even with our faces, one eye is always a little bit different. So it's just realistic if the eyes aren't perfect. See, you gotta, again, throw that story in there. It's just more realistic this way. And what I like to do with the eyes, we put this black on there, and I will go in with a little bit of my brown. Let me get Martin up here a little bit. You'll notice that towards the edges, I put a little bit of brown and then that little white dot so that he doesn't look like a soulless knave.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is important.
Yeah. You got to show that he's a fierce warrior with a soul.
Yes. Well, I mean, he founded the order of monks, so yeah, you gotta.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, exactly. That's the kind of representation that we're going to be needing in this painting here.
Right.
It's a big part of the story. So. Good.
All right. Slightly more even.
There you go. I knew you could do it. Yeah, you can't really see the brown that I have in my picture here because I didn't want it to be too prominent. But I swear up close, it's there. It kind of blends in with the black a little bit, but it just does make him look a little friendlier. And just to break things up, we'll do a little intermission there.
If I was watching this video, I would like it. I would like the video, and I would probably subscribe because this is so thoroughly entertaining and also well executed. It's not a request.
It's not a request. Do it. Do it now!
Let's get back to painting, y'all.
So, the catch lights are really what make a difference. With the eyes looking soulless and things like that. And so when we do the catch lights, we try to make sure we put them thereabouts in the same position so that way he doesn't look cross-eyed. Unless you want a cross-eyed Martin the Warrior. We can totally, like peg leg, boots, all this kind of stuff.
All the things.
All the things, the cleaver, whatever. So I'm just going to put a little dot here, a little dot here. Oh,
yeah, it's interesting. Whenever my mom would do the catch lights on her sculptures, that's when the dogs would start growling at them.
Ooh, interesting. So does your mom do that like full time? Is that like what she does, sculpting?
Yep. So, because of 2020, she obviously had to back off a little bit.
Yeah.
She started painting furniture a little bit more. But yeah, it's, my mom is like one of the most humble artists you're probably ever going to meet in your life. I can walk up to someone in Albuquerque and be like, yeah, my mom's Dana Pomeroy. And they're like, your mom's Dana Pomeroy? And I'm like, yeah, that's my mom. So she has a name here
and you're like, did I stutter? No.
I know. But no, they're always very sweet about it. And they, she has a well-recognized name here. Again, a lot of art shows, a lot of galleries. So, but she's had to back off, especially caring for my grandma. But yeah, so sculpting is her thing. But I still have her portfolio, and I still have her incredible pencil drawing she did of horse jumpers and stuff. So yeah.
Wow, that's cool. Let's see. Kaylee asks, what is my favorite painting that I've ever done? Whew, that's rough. I would have to say it's a tie between, and I think part of it is an emotional tie, is my Gina Carano / Elizabeth Bennet crossover, because that was the first human I ever painted and it turned out so well. I would love to one day recreate it with the skills that I have now, but like, I love the dress. I love it. Just everything about it worked out perfectly for me. The composition, all that stuff. And then the other one would be my Mr. T painting. I did a character crossover of Mr. T and Sir Walter Raleigh.
Yeah, that one was really good.
I am so proud of that painting because it's just cool.
Yeah, it was. It was very cool.
So, yeah, those are probably my two favorites. This one, I think, because it just the color variation, and again, the composition, the story behind it, and the experience that I had. And then the other one is just because it just took on its own life, and I was just so happy with how the coloring turned out. And doing human skin is difficult. Like even in this painting, she's probably a little too olive toned in this painting. But again, it was a learning curve. And then like Mr. T, learning to work with different pigmentations, I loved the challenge of that, and how well it came out, and just love it. Like his hair was so cool.
Yeah.
All right, so do we have an unfinished but an entire Martin the Warrior?
Yes, I think we do.
All right, so now's the time. We're going to finish off this magnificent piece with some pencils. We're going to go ahead and grab the pencil that is a little bit darker, just a little bit darker if you can, than the color of the fur that is the darkest portion there. Let me see here. Let me find which one I'm going to use. I think it's...
and I apologize if my canvas absolutely refuses to pick up the pigment.
Well, we'll just blame your mom. That's what we've been doing the whole time.
Exactly.
So I'm okay with it. I do have, on top of having just regular coloring pencils, I do have kind of like chalk ones. That makes a difference too. I think I'll use that one just so it hopefully picks up on screen better. Let me sharpen this bad boy up. And all that we're going to do here is just, let me bring back Martin here. We're just going to do a couple of strokes up and down, kind of follow the flow of the pattern. So you can see as we started getting towards the ears, we started doing a little bit of a curve. That's all we're going to do. And then down here, when we get towards the base, we're going to start flecking downwards. And again, just follow the curvature of the body.
Okay.
And so I'm going to start here down at the face. Let's see if that picks up. Not really. Okay, let me try to go darker. Let's see if I don't have a darker chalk one. Oh, sorry. There we go. This one maybe. Is it picking up?
Not really.
Gosh.
I mean,
So, yeah.
a bit, but
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a lot. It doesn't need to be a lot. Just enough to kind of add a little something to it. You can hear the sounds. There's your ASMR for the day, folks.
Right.
I don't find it very relaxing, but to each their own. Some people like to watch other people chew on seafood, so whatever, I am not one of these people, but There we go. It just adds, like I said, a little something. Can you wet the tip of the pencil, is what Lady Marine is saying. I don't know if that would help. I really don't.
It's just not sticking to the...
I don't know why. I find that I do not have the answer for that. I cannot.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. You would think that there would not be this issue, but I'm wondering if I had used like actual paper. Like I wonder if I'd used watercolor paper. If it would have.
Well, I'm using canvas too. While it might not be a wrap canvas, it is
canvas paper.
It is canvas. Like it has gesso on it and everything like that. It's just a strip of canvas that's been shaped into the page form, but it's canvas.
I wonder if it's just how acrylic-y this,
that's possible.
This master's touch is, because I mean, it's just full on acrylic paint, but so is Apple Barrel, so I don't know what the difference is.
Yeah, I don't have enough experience with all the. And I'm not a scientist.
Yes.
So I'm not a biologist or a scientist, so I can't tell you what the difference is between paints. But
it's picking up on the lighter paint a little bit more, so I can at least get his stomach hairs a little more defined.
There you go. Now I'm just gonna kind of. Now, obviously, I don't recommend using your coloring pencils on canvas very often because it will kind of just demolish them. But this is just for a little light enhancement here. And just a little here and there, and that's all good. So we'll see if this actually works when we finish off at the bottom, because we are almost done, guys. Thank you again for hanging out with us, crossing that 3-hour finish line. And that's all good. I kind of figured that this painting would take a little while to do. Of course, it didn't help that, the pencils weren't working. So that was like taking up quite a bit of time there. But
yeah.
Let me move this down a little bit here. Let's see. But that's all good. We made it. Where the finish is in sight.
Right.
I can smell it. I can taste it. Of course, I could be because I'm hungry. But
I know. I'm just really hungry too.
Thank you for making this grandiose sacrifice.
No, you're good, girl. I'm enjoying this.
Very good.
Yeah, it's just not. I know that's so weird. It picked up on the white, but it's not picking up I can't do it around the outside of his legs.
Interesting. Wow, so much for that grand idea that we had, when we were planning this event.
So sorry.
Well, fortunately, it wasn't like a big essential part of the painting. This was just to kind of add and see what would happen. But we have it there. I'm going to take a darker pencil and just kind of loosely add some shadowing under here just to finish off this thing.
All right, this is kind of picking up.
Ah, excellent. Sure, all the way at the end it decides to work. I see how it is. Yeah, of course. Sounds like you're one of those DJ mixers.
I know, doesn't it?
That's great. I can't unhear it now.
I can't unhear it.
It's Taylor Swift in DJ form.
There you go.
Can't unhear it. Here we go. Finish off with that. Awesome.
That looks a slightly bit better.
There we go. Let me see here. Let's have a look. I'm going to peel off this tape. Our grand finale here, and then we'll have a look at Alasia's.
Yeah, I definitely like your color scheme a little bit better than mine.
That's pretty cool. That's amazing what the edges will do. So that's our Martin the Warrior, and I got to figure out what to do with this piece because what we're gonna do with it. Yeah, it's not exactly the same. There are some differences here, you can tell. But again, it gets the backgrounds are different. Of course, it didn't help that I made a mistake and smudged over here. But yeah, I got my two Martins. We'll just say one's a Reepicheep, one's a Martin the Warrior.
There you go.
And so what? Let's see the grand reveal. Oh, he looks like a little bit more pleasant than mine. That's right. Oh, the boots are so cool.
And see, I think that makes him look more like Reepicheep.
Reepicheep. That's what I was just thinking. I'm like, should I say it? Should I say it? No, that looks flippin' fantastic. Oh my goodness. No, do you like it?
I do. I'm happy with it. I honestly thought I'd be in tears by this point. So
had the Kleenex ready, I see.
Basically, yes. So yeah, no, I'm happy. Again, I have not done this in 15, 18 years. So it feels nice to hold a pencil and I might even go bust out some paper and just actually sit with some drawing pencils for a little while because it feels nice to hold them again.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you did a great job. I think it's great. It does, and it's got this nice book illustration feel to it, which is of course perfect since it is a book character. Everybody chat saying Johnny says well done. Mrs. Artu says great job. Kaylee says awesome. So Miss Dr. Rachel says I love the boots. Yeah, and Lady Marine says she's proud of you. And
yeah, thanks guys. Great. Thank you very much.
You did a great job. I hope that you will. I hope you'll send me a picture of it.
I will. Yes, I will.
Maybe tag it on Twitter. Let other people see what an amazing job you did over there. And Stunning Megatron says it was a good job as well. And so again, yeah, go follow her over on Twitter, find her on YouTube and everything like that. And anything upcoming. I may have asked this before, but just in case, anything coming up soon?
Yeah, so Monday I've got my chill stream. The following Monday I am going to have a girls stream again. I've already got one guest lined up. I want to try and find 2 more. So Monday streams are in full force. And I'm thinking of other streams. I would love to do, like, I don't know if you'd ever be interested in this. But myself, you, and Megan sit and talk about Redwall, because there's so few people who have read the books. I would love to sit and have a good discussion about the books themselves. I think that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that would be great. I'd be happy to. Have to go listen to the stories again just to brush up on everything. But but I've listened to them for years. So yeah, I love. Did you know there's a Redwall cookbook?
Yes, I did. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I may have used a couple of those recipes a time or two.
Awesome.
They're pretty great. Again, thank you so much, everybody, for hanging in there. Your troopers, along with Alasia, for lasting this long. And she did an amazing job. And show her some love. It was really great. So glad to have you along for this whole journey here today. Mm-hmm. And I hope everybody has a great rest of their weekend. And what did she say? What? No way. Where? I don't know what she's talking about. The cookbook, maybe. Yeah, absolutely. I think we ordered it maybe off of Amazon or Barnes and Nobles. And it's got little stories inside the cookbook, as long as with some illustrations, and it's really super wonderful. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. And as always,
if I was watching this video, I would like it. I would like the video, and I would probably subscribe, because this is so thoroughly entertaining and also well executed.